The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look at my soul. I've been afraid I would follow alone. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Welcome into a Football Friday edition of Running Point, brought to you by MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Ron Potesta with you on ysnlive.com for the next 3 hours. Nothing but the best in terms of guests and you on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. Hit me up, 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. To this point, here's what we have lined up, although we have phone calls in all over the place, and hopefully we will fill in the blanks. Coming up at 1 o'clock, we will hear from the head football coach of the Poland Bulldogs, Ryan Williams, as the Poland Bulldogs are getting set to take on the Salem Quakers. That'll be an all-local matchup from Poland High School on Saturday nights, and we will hear from Ryan Williams at 1 o'clock. At 1:30, we're going to kind of shift away from high school football and talk about a particular game on Sunday that involves our local two teams in the National Football League. The Browns are going to be in Pittsburgh, and you know, I've been thinking about it. Since the Browns came back in 1999, I think there's only been one game in which the Browns and Steelers were both really good, and it meant something pretty substantial. And that would be the 2002 playoffs, won by the Steelers. But it's been a while since the Browns and the Steelers have both been really good when they play. And, well, record-wise, they're both really good. Steelers are 4-0. The Browns are 4-1. We will hear from Aditi Kinkabwala from the NFL Network. She'll be calling in on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline at 1:30, and we'll talk about this rivalry, Part 2. It's not as good as the rivalry Part 1. Now, you got to go way, 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 way back to 1950 when the Browns were first put into the National Football League. Keep in mind, they were not an NFL team in the 40s. They just won championships in the Mickey Mouse League, known as the All-American Football Conference. They were not in the National Football League. So the Browns and Steelers have only had their rivalry. I say only. It's 70 freaking years old. Not every year did they play it, but since 1950, the Browns and Steelers played, and that was through 1995. And then, of course, if you're a Browns fan, you know what happened. Art Modell moved the team to Baltimore. The Browns did not have a franchise in 96, 97, 98. They came back in 1999, and they have been playing the Steelers ever since. So other than the 3-year absence of the Cleveland Browns and Steelers have been a 70-plus year rivalry. And it's been interesting, to say the least. Part 1, a whole lot more interesting than the second part of this rivalry. Like I said, since the Browns came back in 99, I can count on one hand the amount of games where it was the fact that both teams are good. I can count on one hand. I may not be able to use more than 2 digits. So it's going to be interesting as the Browns have definitely got off to a very good start, and the Steelers off to a very good start. So we will catch up with someone who has the finger on the pulse of this rivalry. Not just that, she has the finger on the entire pulse of the AFC North, and that is Aditi Kinkabwala from the NFL Network. She'll be joining us, and of course, a friend of the show. We love having Aditi on. Don't have her on nearly as much as I want to, but again, she is probably the busiest person in terms of the AFC North. So we'll have her on at 1:30. Salem head football coach Ron Johnson will be chiming in at 2 o'clock, and we'll get his take on the Salem-Poland game that is going to be coming up on Saturday night. We have calls in to Coach Sean Guerrero, Paul Cusick from Crestview. We have a call placed in to Dan Yeagley from South Range, so hopefully we will hear from these coaches and get them on during the course of this Friday edition of Running Points on ysnlive.com. Now, we begin the show with a bit of a red flag, and the red flag, of course, is COVID. Now, we've been saying that the first round of the OHSAA playoffs, unfortunately, 11 games were affected, where 11 teams were eliminated without even playing a playoff game. The number in the second round was somewhere between 3 and 5 going into yesterday. It has exploded. It is now up to 9. Here are the number of games that are affected in the second round of the OHSAA playoffs. Now, fortunately, and I don't like any team getting eliminated, but in 8 of the 9 games, the lower seed gets eliminated. Let me run these down in order. Division II, Region 6, the game between Avon and North Olmsted will not be played. Avon, the number 1 seed, will move into the quarterfinals. North Olmsted was seeded 16th. They're unable to play. Division II, Region 8, Trenton Edgewood was to have played Troy. That is an 8-9 matchup. Trenton Edgewood will advance to the quarterfinals in D2 Region 8. Unfortunately, number 9 Troy could not play. Division 3, Region 11, Columbus DeSales was to have played Wilmington. Unfortunately, Wilmington cannot play. The number 1 seed moves on. Wilmington was seeded number 16. Division 3, Region 11, same bracket. Granville was to have played Columbus Eastmore Academy in an 8-9 matchup. Granville will move on. The number 9 seed, Columbus Eastmore Academy, unable to play the game. If you're looking at all of these, you're thinking to yourself, okay, all of these are taking place in the Cleveland and the Columbus area, which is very true. There is a little one game that didn't have anything to do with the Cleveland area, outskirts of the Cleveland area and the Columbus area. Division 3, Region 12, Hamilton-Baden is the 2 seed. They were to have played number 18 Wapakoneta in the northwestern part of the state. Wapakoneta is unable to play. Hamilton-Baden moves on. Division 4, Region 15, Carroll Bloom Carroll was to play Ganadin Hooten Indian Valley in a 3-14 matchup. Ganadin Hooten Indian Valley unable to play. That team is east and a little south of Columbus, if I'm not mistaken. They were the 14 seed. They're unable to play. Division 4, Region 16, Cincinnati, Wyoming was to have played Cleves-Taylor in a 3-14 matchup. Unfortunately, the 14 seed is unable to play. Cincinnati, Wyoming, the 3 seed will move on in D4, Region 16. Here is the only game involving a higher seed, and it's a pretty big one. Division 5, Region 18. Oak Harbor was to play the number 4 seed Elyria Catholic. Elyria is located west of Cleveland. Elyria Catholic is unable to play this game. They are the 4 seed. They're done. This is the only game involving a higher seed getting bounced from the tournament because they're unable to play. COVID outbreak at Elyria Catholic High School. Oak Harbor, the 13 seed, moves on, and they'll play in the quarterfinals. Now, obviously, if Elyria Catholic were to have played Oak Harbor, pretty good chance Elyria Catholic knocks off Oak Harbor. Unfortunately, they're not going to get the opportunity. They're unable to play the game. Hence, Oak Harbor, a 13 seed, will go right on in to the D5 Region 18 quarterfinals. And finally, in Division 7, Region 26, Lima Central Catholic was to have played Delphus St. John in a 1-16 matchup. Delphus St. John unable to play. Lima Central Catholic will move on. So there are 9 games that have been postponed. 8 of them, the lower seed is eliminated. 1 game, a 4 is eliminated, and a 13 moves into the quarterfinals. Thankfully, and I will say this again, thankfully, none of these games, and I knock on wood as I say this, none of these games are involving any of the regions in which our local teams are going to be playing. So Division 2, Region 5, everything is good. Division 3, Region 9, perfect. Division 4, Region 13, spectacular. Division 5, Region 17, okay. Division 6, Region 21, Division 7, Region 25, you betcha. I was running out of adjectives there. Sorry, guys. There you go. So knock on wood, all of the teams in our region and all of the games in our region to this point, everything is hunky-dory, and we will go from there. Again, just to remind everyone of what is going on, here we go. Friday night, the second round of the postseason tonight. Fitch is hosting Twinsburg. Harding is hosting Maple Heights. Boardman is traveling to Painesville Riverside. Division 3, Region 9. Howland is at Chardon. Hubbard is at Geneva. Cheney is at New Philadelphia. Niles is at Streetsboro. And Kenston is at Canfield. Division 7 tonight. Lowellville will take on Warren JFK. Normally, that game would be played at Mollenkopf Stadium. It won't be. It'll be played at Liberty High School because Harding is playing over at Mollenkopf Stadium. So instead of playing the game on Saturday night, Lowellville and JFK will be played tonight, and that game will be played at Liberty High School. Buckeye Central takes a 136-mile journey. 136 into Leetonia, into Bear Country. Representing, although it's basketball, not a football hoodie. Leetonia hosting Buckeye Central, and that is the first ever home playoff game for the Leetonia Bears. Jackson Milton is at McDonald in an all-local matchup. And, I mean, let's be honest, we don't get a whole lot of local matchups in this second round. We get 2 in Division 7. We are getting 1 in Division 3 and none in Division 3 and none in Division 2. Now, tomorrow night, we will get an all-local matchup in D4, Salem at Poland. We will get a somewhat all-local matchup in D5, Mooney at Garrettsville Garfield. And in D6, we get an all-local, actually 2 all-local matchups, Western Reserve at Springfield and LeBray at Brookfield. Those games are going to be on Saturday night. So tonight we get a handful, but a little bit more on Saturday night in terms of an all-local matchup. And the importance of an all-local matchup is the area is guaranteed to have a team go into the quarterfinals. And hopefully, fingers crossed, you don't want to jinx anybody, but if both Fitch and Harding win in D2 Region 5, and I think Fitch is going to win comfortably, Harding and Maple Heights is going to be a tough game. Maple Heights has given up 6 points in their last 5 games. They've only given up 6 points in their last 5 games. So this can be a tough game for Harding. And it's it's one of those games where Thankfully, they're playing at Mollenkopf, where there's familiarity there. Thankfully, they're going to be able to play. Not that there's a home field advantage again because of COVID. Only 1,500 fans are going to be showing up, and that sucks. But it is what it is. You definitely have to deal with the unfortunate part of all of this, and that is that you can't have a lot of people in your facility. By the way, Maple Heights, and let me run through this. They lost the first 2 games of the season. They lost to St. V 35-8. They lost to Cleveland Heights 41-26. Since then, they have beaten Bedford 26-6. They beat East Cleveland Shaw 20-0. They beat Garfield Heights 30-0. They beat Revere 20-0. They beat Firestone 58-0. So they have given up nada in 4 consecutive games. That's 16 quarters of football. Maple Heights Mustangs have given up zippity-doo-dah points. So, going to be interesting. Be real interesting to see what Harding does against Maple Heights in the D2 Region 5 second round of the playoffs. The winner of this game goes to the quarterfinals, where in all likelihood they'll be playing Austintown Fitch. Fitch is taking on a Twinsburg team that's, Twinsburg had not won a game until they beat Brush 42-14. Twinsburg's schedule, they were 0-4 going into that Brush game. They had lost to Copley 31-7. They lost to Revere 28-14. They were edged out by Talmadge 24-20. And they were blown out by Aurora 38-0. They go into the playoffs and they take out Brush 42-14. They play Austintown Fitch tonight. And by the way, they have a schedule after Fitch. So Joe Idle has all of the team schedules. They have a schedule after Fitch. If they were to lose to Fitch, then the rest of their schedule would be Jackson, Cuyahoga Falls, and Lakewood. So I don't know if that is a lack of confidence or just they wanted to throw their schedule out. I don't know which one, but Twinsburg out of Summit County, this one's going to be tough for them as they go into Austintown to take on the Fitch Falcons. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in that game. I wanted to get down to Division 7 because the Bears, Leetonia is going to be taking on Buckeye Central. Buckeye Central is out of Crawford County, and that's New Washington, Ohio. It is north of Bucyrus. It is west of Mansfield. It is in the western central part of the state of Ohio. They have played this kind of a schedule. They're 2-5 this year. They lost to Division 6 Seneca East 35-16. They lost to D5 Winford 46-8. They lost to D4 Upper Sandusky 26-18. They lost to Division 6 Bucyrus 54-10. They lost to Colonel Crawford 55-8. Colonel Crawford, by the way, is a D6 program that is pretty solid. They lost to Mohawk, not the team in Western Pennsylvania. D7 Mohawk, they lost to them 42-8. And at 1-5, they went into the playoffs. They knocked off Wellsville down in Wellsville last Friday night, 32-29. They take on Leetonia this Friday night. So should be an entertaining game to say the least. Should be a very, very entertaining game as we will hopefully have a lot of fun with that game tonight, and we'll go from there. All right, 330-886-0813. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline is open for business. It is a Football Friday, courtesy of MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. We made mention 9 games and counting. 9 games to this point have been postponed in the second round of the OHSAA playoffs. Now, I guess the poll question, if you want to jump in on this, do you believe that our area is going to be spared of this? Let me let everyone throw their prediction hat on. And as I've mentioned, the local teams, all of the local teams and the region in which our teams play, we can certainly be thankful that our teams are going to be able to play to this point. We're very grateful for that. But with COVID now canceling 20 postseason games, 11 in the first round, 9 have been canceled here in the second round. Is it a matter of time before our region gets affected? It's Division 2. 2 of the 4 regions got affected in the second round. Division 3, 2 of the 4 regions. Division 4, 2 of the 4 regions. Division 5, 1 region. Division 7, 1 region. Is it only a matter of time before the local regions get affected? Love to hear from you on this. It's a little daunting. It's borderline frightening that 20 games have been postponed in the OHSAA playoffs. And fortunately, knock on wood, in all 20 of those, 19 of those 20 games did not involve a local team. Unfortunately, Champion was the only team locally that has been affected by this. Champion was eliminated in the first round of the playoffs. They weren't even allowed to play the game. They were eliminated before they even took the field. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we do not see that the rest of the postseason. But got to be honest, 20 games have already been postponed. Fortunately, we've only had 1 game touching the area regions. The Champion is the only team that has been eliminated from the playoffs without playing their game. I hope that we don't get another local team eliminated from the postseason, especially now that we're starting to narrow the teams down. But I got to believe 9 games and counting already. Is it a matter of time before we get it in our teams' regions, or God forbid one of our teams gets a COVID outbreak? Well, I don't know. It's a scary proposition. I know that if I were a fan of any of these schools that have been eliminated, and again, truthfully, in 9 of these games, the 9 games that in which teams have been bounced, 8 of them were the lower seed. Number 16 North Olmsted was to have played number 1 Avon. Chances of them winning that game probably remote. Number 9, Troy, that was supposed to take on number 8, Trenton Edgewood. Troy had a good chance at winning that game. It's an 8-9 matchup, absolutely. Columbus Eastmore Academy was a 9 seed. They were scheduled to play number 8, Granville. They had a shot at this. Hopefully the area gets spared. Hopefully the area teams get spared. And frankly, hopefully everyone in the state of Ohio gets spared. And hopefully this is it, that we don't get another COVID cancellation or COVID-related cancellation. But when you have that virus where now the number of people getting it is higher at this point than at any point during the time in which we started tracking this ridiculous virus when it first came here in early February, late February, whatever. It's scary. It's absolutely scary. But again, fortunately, the regions have been pretty much spared, and so have the local teams in our area. The only team that's been affected has been the Champion Golden Flashes, and a damn shame that they weren't able to play the game, because I thought Champion had a shot. I thought they had a shot in round one. All right, 330-886-0813. We'll take a timeout, take your phone calls. It is a Football Friday, courtesy of MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Back with more in a bit. Stick around.
21 News.
Let's get right to our top story tonight.
More experienced reporters.
A new Wilmington restaurant.
GM Lordstown.
Telling more local stories.
We'll look at efforts
Boy is recovering from a broken.
Around our valley.
Community in Niles.
We are here in Youngstown, right up.
Because you expect.
It's important for everyone.
No place like home.
More local news.
In Mercer County Court.
Become life threatening.
21 News is our valley's #1 local news.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
Attention football fans, order Coca's Pizza tailgate package for only $54.99. You'll receive 24 slices of our delicious cheese pizza, 20 jumbo wings, and 2 of our famous foot-long pepperoni rolls. Coca's Pizza, we serve it hot.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Your Armstrong services are more important than ever. There are more and more connected devices in the home these days. To get the most out of your experience, you need a network that is always getting better. You deserve superior performance, and that's what Armstrong offers every day. Whether you're working from home, enjoying your favorite content together, or simply catching up while apart, count on Armstrong to keep you connected to what matters most.
For heating, cooling, and indoor air quality, the Mahoning Valley trusts MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning, offering worry-free repair, service, and installation. Call MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. We're your energy-efficient experts.
Welcome back to a Football Friday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Ron Potesta with you. We got ourselves a guest coming up at 12:40. Springfield Tigers head football coach Sean Guerrero will be jumping into the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline as we will talk about the rematch between Springfield and Western Reserve. There's some rematches in D6. It should be noted rematch Saturday in D6 Region 21 because you've got 2 local matchups, and both of these games are going to be rematch city. Springfield knocked off Western Reserve in the regular season, and Coach Guerrero will be chiming in about 12 minutes or so to talk about the rematch between Springfield and Western Reserve. And we'll pose the question not only to him, we'll pose the question, hopefully maybe we can get John Armini or Randy Clark on board here today as well, because LeBray's taking on Brookfield, and let's be honest, I know that LeBray wants that revenge factor. They lost to Brookfield 35-7. Obviously, Western Reserve does too, but LeBray lost to Brookfield 35-7 in the regular season. Those 2 teams will get an opportunity to play again. You know, I've never really been on the football coaching end of trying to beat a team a second time in football, and I can tell you basketball wise, limited coaching that I've had, You play a team 2 times in the regular season, a divisional team 2 times in the regular season. If you have an opportunity to play them a 3rd time, you want to be able to try to do something a little bit different, or at least try to get a little revenge, especially if you're 0-2 against that program. It's tough to beat a team 3 times in basketball in the regular season. I can imagine that it would be tough to beat a football program 2 times in the span of a season as well. So is all the pressure on Springfield and Brookfield, the 2 teams that won convincingly? Springfield beating Western Reserve, Brookfield beating LeBray. I don't know. I mean, you can look at it 2 different ways. I mean, you can sit back and say, okay, you beat them pretty good the first time. Let's see what you can do the second time. Is there pressure on you to do the exact same thing? And if you don't, are people going to sit back and go, oh man, you beat them by 30 some odd points the first time around. You only beat them by 7. You're vulnerable. I don't subscribe to any of that. I mean, at the end of the day, isn't a win a win? I mean, if Brookfield beat LeBray in the regular season 35-7. If it turns out to be Brookfield beats LeBray 14-13 in the postseason, and I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just throwing out an example. If Brookfield wins by 1 point, well, you beat LeBray by 28 in the regular season. You only beat them by 1 in the playoffs. No, this team is beatable. No, get that out of here. That doesn't mean anything. A win's a win, whether you win by 1 point or 101 points. It doesn't matter how you do it. It's you win to move on. So I don't particularly care for that theory in any way, shape, or form. And frankly, if you're on the losing end of the regular season game, again, just my thought personally, I think that there are things that a coach on the losing end of a regular season matchup, I think there are things that coach can do, and depending on how good your team was during the course of the season and the matchup in terms of wins and losses, there's going to be any pressure on that team. Look, with all due respect to Western Reserve, it's a fantastic program, and I think that Western Reserve gets an awful lot of credit. I think that Jason Lutie should get all kinds of credit. He came into a situation where Andy Hake was let go, and Andy Hake was a very popular coach at Western Reserve. We won't get into the reasons why Andy was let go, but Jason comes in, and I thought he did a damn good job. Under the circumstances with what was going on over there, I thought that he did a damn good job this year. Now, let's be honest, with all due respect to Western Reserve, Springfield has the bullseye on them. There's no 2 ways about this. Springfield has an absolute bullseye mark, a target on every part of their football program because they're the number 1 seed. They're the dogs. They're the big dogs in the yard. And every single team is going to want to knock off the big dog, not just because you want to advance, but because, okay, this team is universally rated as the best program and the best team in our region. We're going to take it. We're going to give our best shot. We circle this. We got to figure out, okay, win, lose, or draw. We got to be able to know, how do we stack up against a team that last year went to a state championship game and has enough kids yet coming back this year to not only compete for a state championship, but a really good chance to win a state title this year. So if you're playing Springfield in D6 Region 21, not only are you playing to win the ball game, but you're also playing to figure out, okay, how far are we from being a program the caliber of Springfield? And again, we can also use the variable of, okay, I got a lot of kids coming back in 2021. My team plays Springfield. If they lose, I got a lot of kids coming back, and we may be able to take the next step. But it's always great to play the perceived and deservedly so the number one seed in D6 Region 21. So if anyone that plays Springfield, and boy, I just hit the hell out of this microphone. Any team that plays Springfield in D6 Region 21, they're going to give Springfield their best shot, not just because it's a playoff game. Not just because of that. Everyone wants to be measured up against the best. And there's no question who the best team is in this region. It's Springfield. That's why they were seeded number one. So Western Reserve, they get their chance. If Springfield is able to knock them off, they'll get the winner of Trinity and St. Thomas Aquinas. And whoever wins that game, St. Thomas Aquinas is the 9 seed. Garfield Heights Trinity is the 8 seed. One of those two teams will get a shot at Springfield. And Springfield is going to get everyone's best game from here on out. Mainly because they want to advance and move on, but also because, hey, we want to play the best. Okay, we're scheduled to play these guys in the playoffs. You might as well play them because at some point you got to play this team in order to advance out of the region. So Western Reserve gets this opportunity. No pressure on Western Reserve because, frankly, they're not favored in this game. They're, again, no disrespect. Springfield is the top draw in this team. So there's no pressure on Western Reserve in this game. Hell, they could play loose and just have some fun. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens the second time around. Can Springfield do a repeat performance against Western Reserve? Can Brookfield do a repeat performance against LeBray? I love rematches. In the postseason. It's one of those great things about high school football. Speaking of which, Sean Guerrero coming up in a bit. Stick around, more of a Football Friday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in the Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
trusted our families to help you with your Medicare needs.
Myers Family Insurance looks forward to helping you now.
For years to come,
so call our family today and remind them how cute we are.
Myers Family Insurance continues to be the area's resource for all your Medicare and retirement needs. Call today, 330-286-3044.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Rain will come and go tomorrow. There'll be some dry intervals.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Rude gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy-efficient expert, MP Vivo, today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Rude, and so should you.
Welcome back to a Football Friday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com. Let's bring in our first of many guests on this Friday edition of Running Points. The Springfield High School, Springfield Tigers, they went to the D6 state championship game last year. They are the number 1 seed in Region 21. Had a bye last week. They take on a familiar foe this week as Western Reserve comes a-calling, and let's hear from Tigers head football coach Sean Guerrero. Sean, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule. Okay, familiarity. You guys have seen Western Reserve in the regular season. If I were to ask you, what would you rather have in the second round, familiar opponent or someone you have not seen before?
I think I would rather have a familiar opponent. Looking what Western Reserve does, even from week 2, they've kind of turned into a little bit more of a spread team than the first time we played them. They were in an unbalanced, over kind of student body type, old school type offense. They try to mash it to us, but I think Coach Lude's done a good job at evolving his offense. Where they're in, some 2-back sets, 3 wideouts. They're in some 4 wideout sets. So I think with time, he's done a really good job in making sure the kids got better and making sure that the offense is moving forward right now.
You know, and I mentioned this. Jason came into a really interesting situation, and not in a good way. I mean, Andy Hake did a remarkable job with Western Reserve. Unfortunately for Andy, he did a couple of things that got him fired at Western Reserve. Jason Lude comes in, and this team really hasn't skipped a beat. I think that Jason, under the circumstances, especially the way he was hired in a very interesting situation over at Berlin Center, I think he's done a fantastic job.
Oh, he actually, he's done a great job. I've talked to him many of times throughout the season, and his kids have gotten better over the week. So, I definitely believe that he's done a good job, and he was actually more of a late hire. So just having more time with the kids and the kids probably just getting to know, what he's about, I think is definitely a benefit, for them, for the team, and the community. I think the kids, you can see on film, they're starting to buy in to what he's doing or what he's preaching. So I think he's done a great job with the program.
It's not like you guys were sneaking up on anyone last year, because you guys were a really good team last year. I mean, that's pretty obvious. But you get the number 1 seed this year. Is there any added pressure to being a 1 seed, knowing that everyone is not only going to give you their best game but you're no longer that team that people are going to, or what few coaches are going to sit back and go, well, what's this team all about? Obviously, that's not going to be the case anymore. Would you rather be the top seed or a team that's in the lower regions, just trying to surprise people at this point?
I mean, I'm just glad we're in the situation that we are. I mean, I'm glad that we have home field advantage through the regional finals. I think that's been a bonus for us. Our kids are excited to have a game, especially coming off a bye week. So I just think overall that, I'm happy for my kids because they worked hard and they deserve it. So I just want to make sure that we come out tomorrow night and we're ready to play.
Springfield taking on Western Reserve tomorrow night in Springfield. Coach, it's just a shame that there's only 15% capacity over at Springfield, because on a normal Friday night, or in this case Saturday night, that place is loud and it is rocking on a football night in Springfield.
We talked about this earlier in the week. I mean, for our kids, our pregame. I mean, I love pregame. I love the music. I love the kids coming out. You know what I mean? I think right now our kids kind of have an edge, and we have our black jerseys on. I think, you know what I mean, that, like I said, I think they deserve to end up having the home field advantage. So we are in a unique situation of being able, if we can continue to win, to have some home games. But our community has been great. We have a great, tradition here, going back, from a long, long time, from Coach Dorenzo to Doug Phillips. Those guys have definitely led the way for guys like me. So, the expectations there, but for our kids to be able to walk out and come out and touch the rock and be here, in front of our home fans. And earlier you could kind of see, but I think our crowd, and if we're allowed to have whatever the number is, 300 and some people here, those people will be making some noise, and they'll make sure that their presence known.
Coach, you and I talked a little bit before I went on the air with your interview, and I flat out told you, I said, look, if I were to play as a coach and I don't have the horses that Springfield has, I'm going to try to throw every last thing at you in terms of trick plays or anything that can get you guys off of your game. Do you sense that might be the case not only this Saturday, but every team that you play leading up to the regional finals?
Well, I think right now with Western Reserve, even when we played them the first time, they had some kids that were banged up. The regular running back was out. I think he has a chance of playing on Saturday night. So with our kids, and we've kind of ended up learning this throughout the playoffs last year, we got to be able to make sure that we're dotting our I's and crossing our T's. Our kids can't play or act like they need to play, better to go out and make plays to win. We got to make sure when we get lined up, if you're on defense, if you're in charge of A gap, you better control A gap. If you're our corner and you can't get beat deep, you better make sure you don't get beat. We just try to get our kids to buy into their role, know their job, and play that as well as they can. And I think if we end up doing that, whether it's a trick play or a double pass or anything like that, if our kids just come out and do their job and be the more disciplined team, I think we're going to put ourselves in a great situation to win some football games.
Well, I don't think there's any question about that, because if you guys stay disciplined, look, you're number one seed in Division 6 Region 21, and this wasn't a bunch of broadcasters and newspaper people voting on this. This was your peers, your other coaches in the 26 teams in the region. There's a reason why you're the number one seed. So I agree with you. I think if you guys stay disciplined, you're going to be a hard out in the postseason, Coach.
Yeah, I agree. And again, I think that was something that we definitely ended up learning throughout the process of the playoffs last year. Our kids just need to make sure. And I think we snuck up on some teams, with those kids and the seniors did last year. It wasn't like we were going to come out and be world beaters or we had to do all. It was just they came out and they played hard. They played together. Offensively, through that run, we didn't turn the ball over, knock on wood, and defensively, we just ran to the football. And I don't think we need to do anything crazy. We just be able to make sure that I think offensively, we got to be able to line up and run the ball, and defensively, we got to be able to stop the run.
Coach, in a perfect world, would you have preferred to play last Saturday night, or were you guys good with the bye?
Well, I've never been involved in a bye in high school football. I know for our kids, and even last year, when you mean with the 15 weeks, that's a long season. So I might be able to tell that a little bit better, in the next couple of weeks. But last week, I think our seniors did a great job. We had a great week of practice. We did some different stuff on Friday. We kind of challenged the kids a little bit and did some different scenarios that we might see in games, whether it was, we had a minute and 30 on the clock with 2 timeouts, and we needed a touchdown, we needed a drop. So we try to do some different stuff with our kids to put them in scenarios, and we conditioned the heck out of them on Friday. And boy, I thought those seniors did a great job in coming out. I actually thought it was one of our best practices of the season. So, with that coming out, I think it was beneficial for us. Actually, I gave him a day off last week, so hopefully we'll have some fresh legs for this week. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks I can tell you if it's going to pay off or not. But to me, I'd always rather play. We looked into try to get in the scrimmage and doing some stuff, but we couldn't end up working that out. So I just hope, tomorrow night when the ball's kicked off, that our kids are going to be, excited to play. We haven't played in 2 weeks, and I think that they're going to be raring to go for that.
Well, your offense begins with Bo Brungard, and he's an incredibly talented junior quarterback. And the good news is, and I know you don't want to look at 2021. The good news is he comes back for his senior year in 2021, which is a huge plus. Anytime you have your returning quarterback back for another year, but this is 2020. Let's talk a little bit about the maturation process of Bo Brungard. What has been his strength from junior year as opposed to his sophomore year? How much maturity are we looking at from sophomore to junior year with Bo Brungard?
I'll say with him, he's leadership-wise, he controls the huddle. He's great in that aspect of it. I think mentally, even going with hot checks or putting us in the right play or making checks or doing that, he does a good job too. So I definitely think, just the knowledge of the game, he's gotten better. For that, but I do think teams are going to play us a little bit different. I think last year when we lined up, they said, well, we're going to put the pressure on him. He has to make plays for us to win, and they try to take away, other stuff. I think now you have to prepare for him, and then hopefully the other, put some pressure on the other kids that they're going to have to step up and play. So I think overall, for him to be, our run game is going to be important, because if we can run the football, it's going to let him, get into some space and do some special things. So if our guys up front play as well as they did last year, and I still think that's the key, I think we can have some great success, and I think it's going to be hard to stop us.
Is he better than your assistant coach and his father, Mark Brungard, at this point? And look, I saw Mark in high school. You can make a serious argument Bo's better than Mark at this stage. I'm just saying.
Well, Bo is a very unique athlete. At the time I saw Coach Brungard or Mark play at Youngstown, but he possibly could be with one of the best kids I've ever coached.
No question about that. Sean Guerrero, the head football coach of the Springfield Tigers, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. And, forget about football for just a second, although it's your job to coach this team. From a culture standpoint, you look at this team that's, went to the state championship game last year, the basketball team winning last year, the baseball team, we would have had a winning baseball team had it not been for COVID. It's always fun in Springfield because whenever the Tigers football team is winning, I know that the basketball team and the baseball team are going to follow suit. And it's like football is first in line to set up what is going to be an amazing sports season for the guys' sports.
Well, I think for us right now with our players, in the preseason, we set goals for ourselves. It's a high expectation. From myself and my staff, we ask a lot out of our kids, and they know that expectation. We're still going to take week by week, but I know if you talk to any of our kids on our team, they want that state championship. So with that final goal, we just need to make sure that we put in the work Monday through Thursday, and we got to make sure that we're prepared and ready to go, because the ultimate goal is to hold up that trophy at the end.
It's a little bit more of a daunting task this time around than last year. Last year, you had to play 5 playoff games and win 5 games in order to hoist the championship. This year, because you had a bye, now you got to play 6 games. And now, a lot of people are going to sit back and go, oh, I don't know, you got to put an asterisk next to this season because you only played in 6 regular season games. I say BS to that, Coach, because you're playing 6 playoff games and 7 if you didn't have a bye week. So I think that all of that stuff needs to be put to bed. Whoever wins the state championship, I can argue that they've earned it even more this time around than in previous years.
Well, it's tough, and I know with the battle that we went through last year, when you got to prepare, there is no, going from weeks from 11 to 15 last year, it was a battle because there's no soft teams out there. Right now, I think at this point, every team is going to be good. But that's another thing with the process. You got to make sure the kids are taking care of their bodies. You got to be able to make sure. I even know with the process of the weather last year was hard for us because we were getting some snow, we were getting rain, it was cold. So you got to be able to make sure the kids are taking care of their bodies. We got to be able to make sure we're putting ourselves in the best situation to have a great practice. So with that, I thought for myself and my staff, it was a big learning curve for us to be able to make sure that we already kind of have some things set up and making sure that we're moving on to give ourselves a chance to win.
And this year, now you got COVID to worry about. And I mentioned this at the top of our broadcast. 9 games have been postponed in the second round of the tournament. That's tacked on to the 11 that was postponed in the first round. Now, knock on wood, thank God that none of our regions have been affected in the second round. But it's still very scary knowing that there are 9 games in the second round of this OHSAA playoffs that have already been canceled because of COVID-related issues.
We still talk to our kids, with that on a daily basis. And they got to come in, and we still do temperature checks before every practice. And we make sure that they have masks on and we have distance. So we try to comply with everything that they're throwing at us. I know for myself, I guarantee you that they'll probably have somebody, especially as the games start getting condensed, that they're going to have somebody at every game. So our kids, and that's what I'm talking about for us being the more disciplined team. We have to be able to make sure that we're doing that we don't put ourselves in a bad situation. And we talk with our kids too. It's like we practice together and we're with each other. All the time with you. On the field, if we're running around, we don't have masks on. But that's something where we talk about, hey, let's just stay together. Let's try to stay in our bubble. Let's try to stay together. Where for the next couple of weeks, it's about it's about Springfield. It's about hanging out with each other and with everything that we missed, trying to go over. I know last week with the bye, I know the kids ended up going over somebody's house. They got the game off you guys and they watched it together. So as long as they're spending time with each other, I think we're going to be okay. You're not going to be able to hold in kids that are 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds to lock themselves in their house right now, come to school and come to practice and go home. So we try to kind of talk about seeing how basketball was successful. How hockey was successful with the bubble. We try to talk about our team staying in that bubble and staying together. So, we try to keep ourselves out of harm's way.
Hey, Coach, best of luck to you on Saturday night, a rematch against Western Reserve, and it's round 1 of hopefully a 6-game winning streak and a state championship for you guys.
Hey, I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
All right, Sean Guerrero, the head football coach of the Springfield Tigers. Coming up in a couple of minutes, we will hear from the head coach of the Poland Bulldogs, Ryan Williams, as our Football Friday edition of Running Point continues after this timeout. Stick around, more to come.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
today and remind them how cute we are.
Myers Family Insurance continues to be the area's resource for all your Medicare and retirement needs. Call today, 330-286-3044.
Welcome back to a Football Friday edition of Running Point, courtesy of MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Ron Potesta with you, and going to the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline, we find the head football coach of the Poland Bulldogs, Ryan Williams. Coach Williams, how are you today, sir?
Good, Ron. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much for jumping on board here in the 1 o'clock hour. And, you know, it's interesting, and I didn't mean to do this in terms of putting the two coaches together back to back, and the two coaches that gave the Mahoning Valley the furthest football teams in terms of playoffs last year. Springfield going to the state championship game, Poland going to the state semifinals in Division IV. But we'll talk about this. You guys, along with Springfield, gave the Mahoning Valley two teams in the state semifinals. And you got to go back a ways. The last time two teams from our area went to the state semifinals. Like Springfield, you guys have a lot of kids back. Like Springfield, you guys want to finish the deal in 2020, and you guys, like Springfield, are in a very, very competitive region. So a lot of similarities with Poland and Springfield, and the plight that you guys are looking to do this year.
Yeah, sure are. I mean, we're both. Obviously, Coach Brungard and I talk regularly, and Coach Guerrero as well. And I know they got things rolling there, and are really excited about their opportunity, as we are as well.
You guys are the 2 seed in a very deep Region 13, and man, it's so deep. You've got a really good West Branch team, Perry, Canton South, Ursuline is in there, Mogador Field is in there, a lot of quality teams. And, you go down to number 15, you're taking on a quality team in Salem on Saturday night, Coach. I'm sure you saw the Quakers knock off Struthers 34-19 last Saturday night. What have you seen about Salem that has gotten your attention?
Well, first and foremost, they're pretty talented athletically. Quarterbacks, young, but coach's son, very athletic. The biggest thing I think that we know is your coaches just ask them to do what they can do to be successful. They good game plan. They find out what the kids can execute and just have them do that. And it's a sign of a well-coached team and a team that understands their talent. So that's a big concern for us rather is just that they know what they do. They know their kids. They're very well coached. They have good skill guys. A couple nice size linemen up front that are as big as some guys that we've seen. So they're a very formidable opponent. I mean, I think they, played a couple of those teams that you rattled off in our region early on, and they had some losses. But, really in the past 3 or 4 weeks, Salem's played as well as anybody and, put together, some very quality wins there as that, season went on.
Is it tougher to prepare for a team that's more balanced rather than a team that, okay, they're really good at running the ball or really good at throwing the ball? We got to prepare for that. Is it tougher to take on a team that can equally throw and run the ball on the same level, Coach?
Yeah, I mean, certainly. I mean, and, the more things you do, the more we have to prepare for. So, as long as, like I said, as long as they're, asking their kids to do what they can do and be successful, that's a sign of a well-coached team, and I think that's what we're going to get there with Salem.
Are you guys bigger than them up front? And I ask this because your bread and butter this year has been the running attack, and you boast one of the largest O-lines in this area. Is that going to be the case again on Saturday night when you line up against Salem defensively?
I think they have a couple guys that are equal to some of the guys that we have. I mean, we may have one or two more on the offensive line maybe than them, but they got some good size kids there. A couple brothers, I believe, based on their roster that are they're 6'4", 6'5", close to 300 pounds. They have some big guys as well up front. So that'll be a good test for our guys. And if our guys think that that they need to go out and prove that they're the offensive line that they want to be.
Well, obviously, we've made mention of this. The Northeast 8, fantastic conference, up and down. But you look at the conference Salem was in with West Branch and Canton South. West Branch and Canton South have two of the top 5 seeds in D4 Region 13. Clearly, both the Northeast 8 and the NEC, two really good conferences. And I would expect that for you guys, the daunting task of playing in the Northeast 8 and the caliber of competition you've played this year, that's just going to make you guys that much tougher in the postseason. And one could mention the same for Salem as well.
Yeah, no, obviously, I made reference to that a couple of times last year, throughout the playoffs that, I felt that, last year, the Northeast 8, I think, had 5 of the 8 were in the playoffs, and Niles was right there. That that kind of, you don't really maybe think about that on a normal basis, but, that's all preparing you for that off season, So anytime, you can be in a league where you have an opportunity to play some playoff quality, caliber teams, it does add to your preparation. I mean, you're preparing for them, but in the end, it's making you a better team as well. It's that's the benefit to being in a quality, a quality league like they are, like we are. Is that it does help prepare your football team for a playoff run or for some of the other teams that you'll see throughout the state.
Ryan Williams, the head football coach of the Poland Bulldogs, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. You guys were off last week, and that's one of the benefits of being a high seed in the tournament or the playoffs, as it were. You guys had an off week, and a lot has been talked about. The OHSAA football playoffs normally don't have a bye week, but this is anything but normal in 2020. Did you guys do anything differently other than not playing a game last week, Coach?
No, well, we really try to take advantage of it and use the time to worry about the Poland Bulldogs and fix some of our mistakes and look at the things we do and see how we can do things a little bit better. See fix some mistakes. Correct a few things. We did a lot of fitness. Got in the weight room a couple extra days. Tried to get out some of the bumps and bruises and get our legs back underneath us. But yeah, it was a very productive week. As far as, evaluating better, I don't know. It's the first time we've ever been part of something like that. So I don't really have, I don't know what the end game will be with having a bye week, what that does or what that looks like. Only time will tell. But it was very productive. Worked hard, had a good week of preparation. I was real proud of our focus. That's always a concern with that bye week, is not having that kind of that carrot out there of here's you got a game coming. But I thought our kids, our seniors, our captains did a great job of maintaining our practice expectation, and I was satisfied with the week of work that we put in.
I'm curious about this, and the OHSAA has not officially said this, but there are whispers that they're going to be asking coaches, if they haven't already, about the process of doing exactly what we're doing right now. You move the regular season to 8 weeks instead of 10, and you have a 7-week playoff, which would equal the 15 games. As a coach and knowing that the daunting task of winning 7 games, or if you happen to have a bye like you guys do, winning 6 playoff games to hoist a trophy, would you be more apt to say, hey, I kind of like this 8 regular season games, 7 postseason games, or do you want to stay with 10 regular season games if you get into the top 12 or top 8, and then you go to the playoffs 5 weeks into the playoffs, and there you go?
Well, at the risk of sounding too sardonic, I don't want to. I don't think what we coaches think really matters. I think that they'll do whatever they decide is feasible for their purposes. But on a personal, just my opinion, I like a regular season. The 10-game regular season is kind of what I'm accustomed to. Maybe that's what it is. Is that just what it's been for so long that's what I'm accustomed to? I'm not crazy about the notion of more playoff games. I mean, from a teaching safety to kids standpoint, I mean, we need practices and scrimmage time, and those kind of things are what help to contribute to, develop your football team. So I'm, more of a maybe traditional and like the regular season to be as it is, and have the playoffs be, 3 or 4, 4 or 5 rounds like it normally is, I guess.
Poland head football coach Ryan Williams joining me, and I think there's a lot of coaches that would echo the first part of what you said. And I certainly don't want to make the point the OHSAA will do whatever the heck the OHSAA wants to do, but I think you would have a lot of coaches, not only in this area but across the state, that would pretty much echo what you said in terms of it doesn't really matter what we think. They're just going to go do whatever they want to do. All right, let's move on. Obviously, one of the things that not only are you going to be concerned with in terms of opponents, you're also going to be concerned with the possibility of games not being played. It's no secret 11 games were canceled in round 1. Fortunately, this area was only affected in one of those games with Champion. Round 2, 9 games have already been postponed. None of the region teams or teams in our region have been affected, but it's still really scary to see that 9 games in this second round across the state of Ohio have been COVID-related postponed. And it's something that I know you guys and everyone in this area is trying very hard to get their kids to do everything that they possibly can to avoid getting COVID. What are some of the things that you've been telling the kids, Coach?
Well, the biggest thing is that it's about us. If we stay together, stay with your teammates, the guys that we're with on a regular basis. Try to keep your social circle a little limited. Try to just keep it to the guys in the locker room, and we've done the protocol, staggering arrival times and masks on, and try to distance as best we can, and cut some of the drill time down so that if we do have some contact tracing, that we're able to justify who's been where and have it work out. I mean, remember, we lost 14 days of double sessions this summer. We actually, going into the South Range game, had only been in pads for about a week prior to that game. I mean, we lost 14 full days of double sessions. So our guys, that point's been hammered home to our kids, and they know what it felt like to be sent away from the practice field at the onset of double sessions. So they've responded. We've tried to do our best. I mean, obviously you can't control everything, but I think our guys have responded. They've tried to listen to the protocol, do the best that they can, because we have had a couple of scares, and obviously missing that time was very impactful on our preparation for the season.
I know YSNLive.com has gotten tremendous response from Bulldog Nation. Whenever Poland is on, we get a really large response from the Poland fans, and and we've mentioned this. It's just a shame that in this COVID season that you can only have 15% of capacity or 1,500 fans, depending on how big your stadium is. And for Poland's the stadium in Poland, it's 15% of capacity. And that's not a lot of fans when you compare it to how crammed those stands are on a Friday or a Saturday night when the Bulldogs are in action. But it's good to know that most of the fans have jumped on YSNLive.com, and you guys have gone to different places. Bulldog Nation has to watch these games. So even though the fans are not in the stands, they're watching the Bulldogs, and they're cheering from wherever they're watching the game.
Yeah, man, we have a great following. We appreciate our fans. We love playing at home. Love our stadium. It's unfortunate that it can't be fuller. We can't have our normal attendance, but again, given what we've been through this summer, we're just very, very grateful to be playing. We know how precious that is, and how close we were to not having that. So our kids are appreciative. They're thankful that we're playing it all, and appreciate whatever fans we have. It may not be perfect. It may not be ideal, but certainly just to have the opportunity to go and play a ball game, and we're grateful for that.
Does familiarity give you a home field advantage? I know the crowd noise definitely gives you guys home field advantage. Now that's neutralized by and large. Does familiarity give you an extra home field advantage when you're playing in your place, Coach?
Sure. You know, the day-to-day routine. I mean, I think Saturday's a little odd. We don't normally do that, but you know, being at home and you know your meetings are at the same places they always are. You're at your locker getting dressed. You're not getting dressed out of a gym bag, and you know, so there's probably some inherent advantage in being at home because of the routine. Gets to maintain itself.
Poland going to be taking on the Salem Quakers, two local teams. Way back in the day, they were both in the Mahoning Valley Conference. Now they're in different conferences, but you guys, you know of Salem, they know of you, and it should be a fun game. And more importantly, it's a win-win for our area as we definitely get a local team in the regional quarterfinals in a really fun Division IV Region 13. I can't even begin to say just how stacked this region is with a lot of very, very good football teams.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you look. I mean, there was. I mean, the one you mentioned a whole list of them early on there. But the other one, there was a couple of regional changes, as well recently. So like Menor Lake Catholic's in there, and I know maybe on paper, on record, they don't have what you would be. They normally would, but the folks that they play are tremendous teams. So, that team's kind of looming out there. I know you didn't mention them, but I think, Menor Lake Catholic is in that region as well. And they're always they're a battle-tested program that, plays some of the best teams in the state. So they may be down at the bottom of the bracket a little bit, but certainly, Menor Lake and as well as a host of the other ones that you had mentioned are all there. And it is very, very talented, very, very many capable programs in that region.
And Menor Lake Catholic is going to have a game against Canton South, and that's going to be a solid game. Now that's opposite of the region that you guys are in, where you would probably have to wait till the regional finals if Menor Lake Catholic were to survive. But you got a local team with Girard taking on Canal Fulton Northwest, and interestingly enough, if Canal Fulton Northwest loses, now you guys potentially, depending on how the OHSAA wants to do this in terms of the regional finals, if the number one seed were to be eliminated, you guys have home field advantage if they decide to have home field advantage in the regional finals.
Yeah, that's a long way off. I haven't even thought about that yet. I understand, that's interesting and I haven't even looked at that to think about that, at all yet. We're, week to week trying to take care of, trying to get us to not jump off sides. I got other problems to worry about.
I try to keep you guys, to look forward, and everyone just keeps saying, no, we're 1 week at a time. I guess it's the media's job to look forward past the 1 week. So I'll raise the white flag and say, okay, you coaches do what you do, and we'll do what we do, and that's that.
There you go.
Hey, Coach, best of luck to you on Saturday night taking on the Salem Quakers, and it should be a really, really nice ball game, and good luck moving forward, sir.
Ron, I appreciate all you guys do for us, and I'd like to, throw a shout out there to, I know, a mutual, in Latonia and Coach Hooley and the Bears, and we're, as Poland guys, we're all rooting for Coach Hooley and his program there, so I know you are as well. But thanks again for all you do. Anything you need from us, you're always welcome, Ron. I appreciate all you do for the kids in our program.
Appreciate it very much, Coach Williams, and best of luck Saturday night.
Thanks, Ron.
You got it. Ryan Williams, the head football coach of the Poland Bulldogs. This is going to be a fun game. Poland taking on Salem, and Coach Williams he knows that conference that Salem and West Branch have been in. That's a damn good conference. I know people want to sit back and go the Northeast 8, and rightfully so, because the Northeast 8 is a solid conference. But if you have not seen just how impressive the NEC is, you might want to take a look at it. I'm just saying. 2 of the top 5 seeds in Division IV Region 13 are property of that conference that Salem and West Branch are in. It's a solid conference, top to bottom. And I don't think it's as good as the Northeast 8. I never said that it is, but it is a solid football conference. It'd be a lot of fun to watch Poland take on Salem. And I think that Salem, having lost the first 2 games of the season, they have picked it up. And they're a much, much better team now. And we'll hear from Ron Johnson, the head football coach of the Salem Quakers, coming up at 2:00, and we'll get his opinion on what it's going to take to knock off the 2 seed in Division 4, Region 13. Coming up in about 10 minutes, we will hear from Aditi Kinkabwala. She is with the NFL Network. She has the finger on the pulse of the AFC North. Ah, yes, the AFC North, where the Steelers will be playing the Browns on Sunday. And look, you go back to when the Browns were welcomed into the National Football League. Well, the Steelers were not a very good franchise. From 1950 all the way to 1971, excuse me. The football program in Pittsburgh, not very good. You didn't have very many winning seasons from 50 to 71. 1972, the Steelers went to the AFC Championship game, losing to the Miami Dolphins, and that started that ridiculous decade of brilliance where the Steelers won 4 Super Bowls, and the Browns that had won, what do we got, 3 NFL championships in the 60s, 3 in the 50s, 1 in the 60s. They went to 2 NFL championship games in 65, losing to Green Bay. In 69, losing to Minnesota. Otherwise, they would have gone to Super Bowl 2 and Super Bowl 1 and Super Bowl 4, excuse me. Super Bowl 1 and Super Bowl 4, the Browns could have gone to Super Bowl 1 had they beaten no, actually, let me take that back. 65 was the last year that the NFL was playing the championship game. Super Bowl 1 was based on the 66 season. So let me take that back. In 69, the Browns lost to the Minnesota Vikings in the NFL championship game. Had they won that game, they would have played in Super Bowl 4 against Kansas City. The Browns in 1968 lost to the Baltimore Colts. Had they won that game, they would have played the Jets in Super Bowl 3. So in the 60s, the Browns were pretty good, but the Steelers weren't. In the 70s, the Steelers were unbelievable. The Browns, in the early 70s, they were. Toward the late 70s, they weren't. In the 80s, the Steelers kind of went back a little ways, weren't really great through the 80s. The Browns went to the playoffs in 1980, went to the AFC Championship game in 86, 87, and 89. Steelers, not so much. In the 90s, they were both good, but they weren't really, really good. I mean, you can pretty much count on one hand, when the Steelers and Browns have been really good at the same time. Now, granted, this is only week 5, and okay, the Steelers have only played, 4 games. It was at week 6. They're 4-0. The Browns are 4-1. The Steelers did not play their game against Tennessee. So they're 4-0. They'll make up that game against Tennessee later in the season. They're undefeated. The Browns are 4-1. Browns get a really impressive victory over Indianapolis last week at the stadium to move their record to 4-1. This might be, other than the 2002 AFC wildcard game that or the divisional playoff game that the Browns lost to the Steelers. Steelers came back and beat them. This might be the first time since then that the Browns and Steelers are playing each other, and both teams are on paper really good. So it doesn't happen very often. And Browns-Steelers, does it get the feel of the Browns-Steelers deep-seated hatred rivalry of the 60s, 70s, 80s, and early 90s? I don't know, based on the fact that the Browns have sucked since they've come back playing football after a 3-year absence when Art Modell moved the team to Baltimore, and the Browns and the city of Cleveland were without football in 96, 97, and 98. They came back in 99. The team hasn't been really that good. Except for one playoff year and one year in which they won double digits but weren't able to get into the playoffs. This might be their best team since the 2002 season. And again, they're good at the same time, albeit very early in the season, but this should be fun. It should be a fun game. Does this automatically bring this game and bring this rivalry to the heights of the 70s and 80s? I don't know, but we'll hear from a person who pretty much knows about that rivalry. She has her pulse on her finger on the pulse of the AFC North. She's Aditi Kinkabwala, and we'll hear from her after this timeout. It is a Football Friday edition of Running Points, and we'll be back after this timeout on ysnlive.com.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions, reminding you that it is open enrollment for Medicare.
Now through December 7th, those who qualify can visit our local independent agency by calling us at 330-953-3722 or visiting us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Attention all football fans. If you can't see your team play, come and dine with us and watch it live at Boardman, Canfield, or Cortland. Or staying at home, we'll deliver right to your door. That's Coca's Pizza. We serve it hot.
2020 will be a season like we've never seen before, but 21 Sports and YSN will be there for every key moment. The plays, the players, and the stories that will headline this season. Delivered by 21 Sports and YSN.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is here, so it's all hands on deck to make sure your plans still meet your needs for 2020.
Call us today.
You may find yourself in some difficulty this winter. Don't get whacked by high heating bills. Call Michael at MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Michael is a trusted friend who will be able to help you with many things, like getting a 95% high-efficiency furnace this winter from Rude. Michael relies on Rude, so should you. Call MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning for a free estimate, 330-259-0486, and take care of your heating and air situation.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
Armstrong Local Programming has always delivered an exclusive and unique perspective on the very best events your region offers. High school sports, community events, parades, all your favorite shows from Armstrong are now calling the Neighborhood Channel their home.
Watch Out and About, Locally Speaking, and many other great local shows right here on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel.
Find out everything that the Neighborhood Channel has to offer at ArmstrongNeighborhood.com. Spirit, town pride, local communities. Welcome to the neighborhood.
Welcome back to a Football Friday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. All right, let's take a break from high school football and the OHSAA playoffs coming up tonight and tomorrow night because there's a game on Sunday involving the two teams in our region that are in the National Football League. And we're right smack dab in the middle of the two cities, Cleveland and Pittsburgh, as the Browns head to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. To talk a little bit about that game, we bring in our good friend from the NFL Network, Aditi Kinkabwala. Aditi, how are you today?
We are surviving. That's all I can tell you, Ron, and I'm apologizing in advance if you hear small people.
And that's okay. As everyone should know by now, Aditi not only is phenomenal at what she does, she is also has two kids, and with the pandemic, the kids are home, and Aditi does a great job on the air with the kids all hanging around. So we have no problems listening to the kids because, after all, they're going to be future radio and TV stars as well.
Perhaps. They are both hams to some degree, and my daughter this week has been hanging out on every Browns Zoom call with me, making noise right when I ask a question. So clearly she feels she can ask better questions than I do, and grabbing my pen when Baker Mayfield was talking. So apparently she thinks she can take better notes as well.
Well, there you go. Hey, I was, and I've been a fan of the Browns. I mean, they're not my team per se. I'm a Bills fan, but I've always watched the Browns growing up, and I can only count on one hand since the Browns have been back in 1999. I really can only count on one hand the amount of times the Browns and Steelers have played each other when both teams are having pretty solid seasons. The 0-2, the playoff game in which the Steelers came from behind to beat the Browns. The year the Browns were not in the playoffs, but they had double-digit wins. The Steelers were pretty decent that year. But this game coming up on Sunday, an upstart Browns team that had a fantastic win over Indianapolis in Cleveland against a Pittsburgh team that's off to a tremendous start in the 2020 campaign. This should be a fun game Sunday.
Well, they're both on 4-game win streaks, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the Browns have won 4 in a row to be 4-1, and absolutely. And, that's the point that Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski just made about Myles Garrett and anything ancillary. And he said, there's just way too much at stake. The game is big enough as it is. And that's exactly the point that Mike Tomlin made, that there is too much to focus on in how good this Browns team is and what they need to handle to worry about anything extracurricular or anything ancillary. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's all good.
My 5-year-old son was born in Pittsburgh, and my 1-year-old daughter was born in Cleveland, and she seems to always make noise.
And there's no problem with that at all. You made mention of Myles Garrett, and obviously the last time Myles Garrett played a football game was the incident involving he in Cleveland as he bashed his helmet over the head of Mason Rudolph, and it's not funny, but I chuckled. His season ended as the National Football League suspended him for the rest of the regular season. He's back. He's having a monster start to the season, and now he gets to take on a team that cost him, the team didn't cost him, his own action cost him, but he takes on the team that the last time he saw them wasn't necessarily a good memory for him. I'm sure Myles Garrett is going to be amped up, even though Mason Rudolph is not playing, or at least he's not scheduled to play with a healthy Roethlisberger.
Well, I think in general, right, Myles Garrett is on a mission to perhaps be the Defensive Player of the Year, show that he is the league's premier Defensive Player of the Year, and this is about as big of a stage as there can be. I mean, as well as the Browns are playing the spotlight on Steelers-Browns right now. I mean, CBS is sending their number one crew. ESPN is sending their number one reporter. It is a massive game. It's a massive stage, and it's a huge opportunity for Myles Garrett to show the player that he is and not the caricature that he somewhat became in the aftermath of walloping Mason Rudolph in the head with his helmet.
Aditi Kinkabwala from the NFL Network joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. You know, with the Steelers, and a couple of members of the media brought this up. You know, the Steelers have no Le'Veon Bell, no Antonio Brown, and both of these guys have since been released. Le'Veon Bell earlier this week to the New York Jets, although he signed with the Kansas City Chiefs. The point they were making is, hey, there's no Le'Veon Bell in this locker room. There's no Antonio Brown in this locker room, and the Steelers are 4-0. So all of this talk in previous years of, well, it had to have been Roethlisberger that was the reason why the Steelers weren't necessarily playing to their potential. Listen, it's early, and I get it, but this team looks so much more relaxed, and they don't have the drama that they had with Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell not there anymore.
Well, that's certainly true. I mean, you look at the wide receiver room, and it's an extremely young group. It's a very, very deep group. I would argue this is the deepest group of wide receivers that Ben Roethlisberger has ever had. And Roethlisberger himself has been very, very open and frank in talking about the perspective he gained a year ago from having to be on the sideline. In a football sense, having to watch from the sideline, see the way that plays are called in, see the way people process plays, see the way receivers come off the field and how they deal with that, viewing the game from that position with a headset on. He's never done that for that extended period of time. And so, you know, that clearly this week, Mike Tomlin and Ben both talked about his mental approach and how that has suddenly grown in a significant way or expanded in a way. So there's obviously that. There's also the sort of holistic perspective that you get when the game is potentially taken away from you and you realize, you know what, I'm not ready to walk away from the game. And I still love this game, and this game still has something to give me, and I still feel that I have something to give this game. So I think you certainly see that. And then going back to what you said about the diva personalities, that's actually a question that I asked Roethlisberger, because he went very out of his way this week to praise Juju Smith-Schuster for being so genuinely happy for the rookie Chase Claypool's 4-touchdown day, and how sort of what a relief and what a joy that was for Roethlisberger to see nobody frustrated that, hey, why wasn't that me? And so I asked Roethlisberger, you know, what is the pressure that is on a quarterback? Because obviously I've been told a lot that at the end of the Antonio Brown tenure, there was quite a bit of pressure on Roethlisberger to keep Brown happy, to keep him fed, to keep him involved and engaged and feeling vital. So I asked, you know, what is that pressure on the quarterback? And he openly said that most people don't realize how tough that can be, and that maybe one day he'll write a book about it. But you can see that clearly not having to worry about that is significant for him right now.
Do you think...
Not having to worry about who is fed and who is fed when and who is involved when and who is involved how.
Do you think that Roethlisberger's injury and the fact that he was on the sidelines and he was watching the offensive coordinator do his thing and listening to the coordinator do his thing with whether it be Mason Rudolph or Duck Hodges, do you think that gave Ben a proper respect, of a deeper appreciation for what the offensive coordinator does? And I ask that because it's no secret when Todd Haley was the offensive coordinator, you could see that there was a friction between Haley and Ben Roethlisberger. And I know it's only 4 games. You don't see that friction. And I'm wondering if that has to do with the fact that Roethlisberger was out for the year, and he saw firsthand during his absence just how much the offensive coordinator does. I wonder if Ben has gotten an appreciation for that.
I'm sorry, Ron, but I would have to disagree with that, because he and Randy Fichtner, the Steelers' offensive coordinator, are incredibly close. Randy has been his quarterback's coach for however long, I mean, well over a decade, 15, 17 years. I don't know exactly how long. They're very friendly. They golf together. Todd Haley is a strong personality, just as Ben is. But the one thing that you need to, and Todd Haley doesn't worry about kowtowing to anybody. He feels strongly about what he does and where he is right. And let's not forget that Ben really changed his game and put together some of the best years of his career under Todd Haley. It was under Haley that he learned how to get rid of the ball so quickly and protect his body better. He was more healthy. under Haley than otherwise. And so sometimes, it's Bill Cowher himself who said that a player and a coach don't always have to get along to make magic. And sometimes it's not good when they're getting along so fabulously, that there needs to be some dissent or friction in the room to some degree. So I don't know that I think that Ben has always gotten along with Randy. I don't think that really is a consequence of a year ago. But I do think that Ben's appreciation for looking at the whole field, reading the defenses, relying on more than just his physical skills, I think that is certainly something you can attribute to him having a year off.
Well, Chase Claypool, and being a big Notre Dame fan that I am, I knew that this kid was going to be an absolute stud going into the National Football League. He just needed a quarterback that could throw the ball down the field and take advantage of the incredible talent that he has. And you get the feeling, 4 touchdowns last week, an incredible performance. You get the feeling that we're starting to scratch the surface of just how impressive this rookie is.
Well, for sure. I mean, this is the big body, the big target that Ben perhaps hasn't had since he had Plexico Burress. I mean, maybe this is sort of the hope that Martavis Bryant could be something like this. But Chase Claypool is a really, really, really smart young man. Very bright. It's something that Ben has talked about at length. In fact, his 4th touchdown on Sunday was a play that was essentially a check, was a play that Ben called at the last minute. He called it out of a formation they had never practiced it in. Claypool and Ray McLeod had never been asked to do what they did on that play, and Claypool comes up with the play, comes up with the catch and the touchdown and all of that, which turned the game from from the Steelers clinging to a 2-point lead to turning it into a 2-score game.
Obviously, these two teams, they've known each other since 1950, and I brought the history before we had you on, and the Steelers weren't very good in the 50s and 60s. They had their Super Bowl dynasty in the 70s, went back a little bit in the 80s, won another Super Bowl in the 90s, and the Browns, solid championship caliber in the 50s and into the 60s. The 70s, they took a step backward. The 80s, they were good, where the Steelers took a step back. These two teams have really never been in sync in terms of being really solid at the same time. And I know it's early. You get the feeling that this game might very well restoke a rivalry that, and I grew up in the 70s. I was a teenager in the 70s, and that rivalry was intense as all get out. In the 70s and into the 80s. I just wonder if this game is going to start that new chapter because, let's be honest, the Browns, since they've come back.
That it was started a year ago, right? They split their meetings a year ago, 1-1. What happened with Myles Garrett? There's always been some sort of animosity. I joked about this earlier in the week on a Pittsburgh radio station that when I first moved here, my husband used to really despise the Browns, and I never got it. I said, that's like hating the Little Sisters of the Poor. Shouldn't you hate the Ravens this much? But there is indeed, as you said, a long-standing, deep-seated historical rivalry, and I think when the games are competitive, then that only adds to it. And I think we've already seen that. I don't think you need this game Sunday to establish that.
Well, from the standpoint that these two teams really haven't been good at the same time, this game is going to be the exception rather than the norm because both teams are off to really good starts this year.
Oh, for sure. And I think that Kevin Stefanski and his coaching staff, it's a tremendous staff, and there's a lot of talent. I think that you're right to say this is finally the turn that the Browns were certainly – don't put that in your mouth. Oh, I'm sorry. Not you. I think that is I think that this is what, the Browns have been waiting for some time.
I feel like I was going to be scolded there for a little bit, Aditi.
Well, she's trying to eat a muddy rock, so.
Oh yeah, well that's not a good thing. And to give a little history of your family, your oldest was born in the city of Pittsburgh. Your youngest was born in the city of Cleveland. You were there to cover opening day between the Browns and Steelers, and
Browns and Titans.
Browns and Titans. I beg your pardon, Browns and Titans. And
right.
The little one was born in Cleveland the night before the Browns Titans game.
2 nights before, yes. Friday night, she came 8 weeks early, and we were at the Cleveland Clinic, and they took great care of her, and 1 year later, the kid is a monkey. She is running, she climbs ladders, she does not stop. So she has gone from 3.5 pounds to an elite athlete. She will be my athlete, I will tell you that. Oh, boy. As they are now both climbing on a hammock, and I am covered in mud.
Hey, Aditi, before we let you go, and we certainly appreciate you hanging on for a few minutes to talk about this game. Obviously, the Browns are 4-1. They're off to a tremendous start. They're looking to remind everyone that they are a solid team and that they're going to be a force to deal with, not only in the AFC North but across the AFC. Steelers off to a tremendous start, 4-0. It's a great matchup on paper. What does each team have to do in order to get the W on Sunday?
I think that the Steelers need to play much more consistently defensively. They can't possibly allow the Browns to convert on third down the way they did the Eagles. The Eagles were 10 of 14 on third down. That's not something that they can allow to happen 2 weeks in a row. And I think the Steelers really built on their offense. They showed a lot of diversity, they were a lot more multiple, a lot more creative on offense a week ago. I'd like to see them build on that. I'd like to see them take advantage of the Browns secondary and not let Myles Garrett and that fierce front, because the Browns do indeed have a great front, get going.
And from the Browns' perspective, obviously, making sure Odell Beckham is healthy, and hopefully he is for this game. But that running attack, minus Nick Chubb, that's part of their offense as well.
Well, look, Kareem Hunt for Kareem Hunt to be a backup or a 1A, I mean, I don't know another team in the league that wouldn't be envious of that right there. And they haven't missed a beat. So, but you're right. I mean, the best way to keep Ben Roethlisberger clean is to be able to run the ball well, and we know that Kevin Stefanski's offense, everything starts with the run.
The AFC North, it doesn't get much better. Three teams with 4 victories, and Cincinnati is playing a lot better than their record would indicate. This is a good time to cover the AFC North for the NFL Network.
That is for sure, and I am very grateful for that. On that note, I am about to have 2 children go into complete meltdown mode so that I don't send your listeners scrambling for their ears. I am going to have to beg off.
Not a problem. Aditi, always welcome on this program anytime.
Thanks so much for having me. Hey!
You got it. Aditi Kinkhabwala from the NFL Network joining me. Double duty. Hey, James, she's got a couple of kids she's got to worry about, but we love having Aditi on for sure, previewing the Steelers-Browns game. All right, take a timeout. On the other end, we will hear from the head football coach of the Crestview Rebels. Yes, Paul Cusick will be calling in. Stick around, more to come on this Football Friday edition of Running Points.
21 News.
Let's get right to our top story tonight.
More experienced reporters.
A new Wilmington restaurant.
GM Lordstown.
Telling more local stories.
We'll look at
efforts boy is recovering from a broken
around our valley.
Community in Niles. We are here in Youngstown. Right up.
Because you expect.
It's important for everyone. No place like home.
More local news.
In Mercer County Court.
21 News is our valley's #1 local news.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring. And, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
Attention football fans, order Coca's Pizza tailgate package for only $54.99. You'll receive 24 slices of our delicious cheese pizza, 20 jumbo wings, and 2 of our famous foot-long pepperoni rolls. Coca's Pizza, we serve it hot.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Your Armstrong services are more important than ever. There are more and more connected devices in the home these days. To get the most out of your experience, you need a network that is always getting better. You deserve superior performance, and that's what Armstrong offers every day. Whether you're working from home, enjoying your favorite content together, or simply catching up while apart, count on Armstrong to keep you connected to what matters most.
Welcome back to a Football Friday edition of Running Points on ysnlive.com. Let's get back to the high school realm as the Crestview Rebels get set to take on the Southeast Pirates on Saturday night at Rebel Stadium in Crestview. And let's chat with the head football coach of the Crestview Rebels, Paul Cusick. Coach Q, how are you today, sir?
Doing well. How about you?
Doing well. Can't wait for Saturday night. I got to get back in the air and have some fun broadcasting. Hopefully, a Rebel victory at the stadium with the brand new artificial surface.
Oh, we're excited. It's going to be a great atmosphere.
No doubts. Let's talk a little bit about Crestview. You guys had an off week this past week. In a perfect world, obviously everyone would love to play football every Friday or Saturday night. But what did you guys do in the off week? Did you do anything differently other than not playing last week?
We did a couple things different. We really focused on what we felt we needed to fix and get those things corrected. You had time. It was almost like going back to like a mini camp situation. You try not to be on the field as long because you don't want to wear them out. So trying to get them out on time and get them out a little bit early, I think trying to save legs, I think that's more important. Just trying not to be so monotonous and always in the same routine. Just trying to keep it a little bit different just so you can move forward and make sure you're getting better every day.
How's the team health-wise going into Saturday night's game?
We're pretty good. The week off really didn't matter for us. I thought we were pretty healthy. My concern is that we had a week off, we played, and had another week off. So that makes me a little nervous to see how rusty we're going to be come tomorrow night, just at the beginning.
Yeah, I'm wondering, is the first series or two going to dictate what the Rebels do on this Saturday night at Crestview?
Well, I think more than anything, you kind of got to use that first one or two series to try and knock off the rust. Hopefully there isn't much. Hopefully the kids are playing at a great pace and at playoff speed, because it's a different type of animal when you're in the playoffs. Everything's faster, everything's more intense, and hopefully we get right up there right now and not have to worry about knocking off the rust. So I think that's the biggest concern.
Well, the home field advantage for you guys, now that the new turf has been installed, you guys finished the regular season out 4-1. As you mentioned, you weren't able to play the final, or you weren't able to play the Newton Falls game. But clearly, when you guys are on turf, you guys are just so much quicker. And this is where home field advantage comes into play, since you don't have to play Southeast at their place. You can play them in your place and play on that brand new surface.
Well, we hope so. We hope that it makes us faster, and I think we've talked about it before. We do have good team speed, and we have to use that to our advantage, and hopefully we will, and hopefully our kids make plays.
What did you see out of Southeast watching them on film? And I assume that you guys were able to watch Southeast in their impressive victory over Buckeye Local in round one of these playoffs.
Well, I think more than anything, they're very aggressive defensively. Their kids play hard. They get after it. And that's the one thing they're going to do. They're going to make plays on defense. You got to be patient on offense, because they are going to make some plays. So don't get frustrated. Respect the fact that they got some good players, and they're going to make plays. And I think that's the thing. They're very aggressive. Their kids play hard. Really like the way they coach it up. I like that program. I think that it's going to be a great game.
With aggressiveness on defense comes the fact that they might very well be vulnerable to counter plays or reverses and whatnot without giving up the game plan. Is that something that could very well be in the offering Saturday night?
Well, I think you do try and look and see what a team does well, and maybe try and tweak something that it takes advantage of their aggressiveness or whatever it is. So, we've done some things that we feel that we hope will work in the game, and that's what we've tried to work on and kind of tailor make it to whichever defense we're facing.
I know on last time we saw you guys, you knocked off Liberty at Liberty, and I thought it was Anthony Cusick, your son and my nephew. I thought it was Anthony's best game of the season, and it couldn't come at a better time because last regular season game, you hope, knock on wood, that he's going to continue to improve. Fantastic job by Anthony. Fantastic job by the running attack. Hardenbrook and Powell have turned into a really nice 1-2 combination for Crestview this year.
Well, I think so. I think those two guys are going to carry us in the rushing attack, and we need to have that air attack to get the balls to the other players, because we do have some guys that can make plays in space. Ethan's going to carry the load running the ball, but we got to get the ball to William. William is a big play waiting to happen. I mean, we have a couple of those guys. So in the passing game, it allows you to get some guys out in space, and we try and emphasize to Anthony that you're basically the point guard, and you want to distribute the ball and get it to your playmakers. And I thought he did a really good job of that last game out.
Well, given the fact he does a really nice job as a point guard on the basketball floor, that's kind of in his element.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, that's the mentality he has. He's always been a pass-first type basketball player, so it makes sense in football. So, I think he's comfortable doing that.
Let me talk a little bit about the ins and outs of the discipline with this football team, and not in a bad way, but there have been times where guys have been caught for a false start up front or offsides up front, and I know it was a serious problem which led to a loss, your only loss of the season against Champion in the Mud Bowl up in Champion in Week 1. Since Week 1, you guys have done a really solid job with that. It creeped up a little bit in the Liberty game. Was that something that you guys have been working on in the off season or in the off week of last week?
Well, I think more than anything, you're just trying to be focused and understand that little mistakes are going to add up, and you can give somebody a first down or better field position or a chance to go for it on, fourth and short. And you got to own those mistakes, and we try to get our kids to understand that. So, we do at practice. We've been, working on the scout team going on 2, making sure we don't jump, things like that. Just little things to try and get in their head and make sure that we're being a little bit more disciplined.
What's the one thing you think you have to do in order to get the W on Saturday at Crestview?
Well, I think we definitely have to limit our mistakes and not turn the ball over. Sounds like a cliche, but those two things will kill you, penalties and turn the ball over in big games. So we want to do those things and just be multiple with our touches on offense.
I look forward to broadcasting the game Saturday, and best of luck to you, and just stay healthy and stay COVID-free, most importantly.
Hey, no, I hear that. Thanks, Ron.
You got it. Coach Cusick, the head football coach of the Crestview Rebels. We'll take a timeout on the other side. We will hear from the head football coach of the Salem Quakers, Ron Johnson, joining me as the Football Friday edition of Running Point continues after this timeout.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Rain will come and go tomorrow. There'll be some dry intervals.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Rude gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy-efficient expert, MP Vivo, today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Rude, and so should you.
Welcome back to a Football Friday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com. The Salem Quakers take on the Poland Bulldogs in the Sweet 16 matchup of Division 4, Region 13. We heard from Coach Williams of the Poland Bulldogs earlier in the show. Let's hear from the head football coach of the Salem Quakers, Ron Johnson. Coach Johnson, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Ron. How you doing?
Doing wonderful. You guys get an impressive victory over the Struthers Wildcats in week 1 of this tournament as you knocked off the Wildcats 34-19. Struthers is no stranger to Poland. They're in the same conference, and you get an opportunity to be a Northeast State killer in the second round of the playoffs as you take on a very talented Poland Bulldogs team. Coach, you've had an opportunity to see this team on film. What does Poland bring to the table that has your eyebrows raised a little bit?
Well, I'm surprised they've had any games this year because the Big Ten doesn't start until a couple weeks from now. I mean. So it's surprising to see him play. I mean, it's the University of Poland. I mean, they're a big physical football team that just wears on you and wears on you. They're probably as sound as anybody I've seen on film on both sides of the ball, both offensively and defensively. And, of course, when you got a big kicker and a good punter, they're solid in the special teams as well. I mean, things don't happen by accident, and they're not in the position they're in for any reason other than they're an outstanding football team.
When you have a team that is so big up front, naturally it's going to be difficult to put a pass rush together if and when Poland decides to throw the football, let alone trying to stop their run game. Does that put all the pressure on the linebackers to fill those gaps and make the play as quickly as possible?
Oh, obviously, yeah, we have to do that. I mean, we'd love to get them in a position where they have to throw the football. I mean, because they just want to impose their will on you and put together long drives and, take their nickels and just keep moving the ball down the field. So if we get them in a position where they have to throw the football, we've done something successfully, and we'll just have to, try and cross that bridge when we get to it. But, they're going to rush the football and rush it a lot.
Second and long, third and long, to where you can get your bag of tricks defensively and dial up a blitz or two to really put some pressure on that team. I got to imagine that's the perfect game plan. If you guys can accomplish that, there's a really good chance you hang a W in Poland.
Well, that would be great. I mean, that's it's going to be a monumental task. You know that, but it's a 48-minute game, and we're just getting ourselves mentally prepared to play the entire 48.
Now, Poland defensively, we've talked about their massive offensive line. Does that translate into their defensive line as well, Coach?
Well, of course, they get good reps in practice every day. They're going against good people, and that their defensive line's phenomenal. I mean, they're as active, and I mean, heck, 4 of them are on kickoff cover. That tells you the kind of athletes they are up front with their defensive line. I think they played their best defensive game of the year against South Range. They just had some bad breaks go against them. I think the weather had a little bit to do with it, and their lack of practice time going into it with their delays. But they're an outstanding football team, and their defensive line's, like I said, the best I've seen.
Ron Johnson, the head football coach of the Salem Quakers, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline as Salem is getting set to take on the Poland Bulldogs in the second round of the OHSAA playoffs for Division IV, Region 13. Talked with Coach Williams about this. This is an absolutely stacked region. You guys, your two opponents that you've played this year in your conference, West Branch is the 3 seed, Canton South is the 5 seed. You have Poland as the 2. You've seen Canal Fulton Northwest and Perry. East Cleveland Shaw is solid. Beaver Local is solid. This is a really tough and competitive region.
Yeah, I mean we play good football in this area as a whole, and I think some teams are up a little bit this year. There are no off games, and once you get in the playoffs, there never is anyway. But I think you've seen some lower seeds already win in this region as well, because it's good football from top to bottom.
There's some things to be said for the division that you guys are in, the league that you guys are in. And I know a lot of folks in the area love to talk about how great the Northeast 8 is, and I've been trying to tell people, hey, don't sleep on the league that Salem and West Branch are in, because Salem, West Branch, Canton South, Marlington is a solid team. There's a couple of other solid teams. Carrollton is solid. Absolutely.
They won their opener 48-0 last week. Their playoff opener 48-0 against Bexley. I mean, they're an outstanding team.
No question.
Right.
Yeah, this is top to bottom. That is a really fun conference that you guys are in.
I mean, who would have ever guessed that maybe the most talented team in our league and 3-time defending champion Alliance, you saw how well they played Hubbard last week, had a chance there at the end, and they're 0-7. So that tells you a little bit about the quality of our league and the teams they're in, even at the bottom of it with Alliance.
Do you feel that the league, like the NE8, this league is prepared, the teams in this league to go and play games in which they're not going to – you guys shouldn't be scared of anyone, because your league has pretty much prepared you to play just about anyone.
Right, and the good thing about our league as far as preparing us to play is there's just so much diversity in it. I mean, you got some wing tee teams, you got some spread teams that throw it all over the yard. You got teams that line up in the stacked eye. I mean, you see everything, so you have to prepare for it every week, so it really helps your kids be able to adjust to different things. So it's not just a one-dimensional league. We have, 4 or 5 different offensive philosophies within the conference, so you have to prepare every week, and helps you learn football as a coach, and it helps you, prepare and experience football as a player.
And that's one of the reasons why Alliance was able to hang with Hubbard. And again, it speaks of the depth of the league that you guys are in. We've talked about the things that you guys are going to have to do to knock off Poland. Obviously, you guys are more than capable to do it offensively. Let's talk about the Quakers' offense and the guys that have made the engine roar offensively.
Well, we got a lot of playmakers. I think we got some guys we can get the ball to in the passing game, and our running back is playing better every week. He's getting better and better than ever, being his first chance of varsity action this year. So, his improvement has really taken us leaps and bounds as far as balancing our offense. We got off to a great start last week offensively, and could do pretty much whatever we wanted in the first half, and then in the second half we got real vanilla. Worked on things in the run game, got behind our guys, our offense line, which we think is the strength of our game, and kind of kept the ball away from Aiden Hall and Alec Grissom in the second half.
Coach, you brought up something that I wish more teams thought like this. If you're out to a huge lead and the game really isn't in question, it seems to me that that's the time that you should be working on things that you struggle with, but you're going to need to do in order to make a really, really deep run in the postseason. There's so many coaches, and I won't name names. I mean, it happens way too frequently to name names, to where everyone's going to be like, okay, well, we're just going to continue doing what we're doing. And I've always scratched my head at that and saying, wait a second, if this game is in the bag and you know that you're going to be advancing, why not go and work on things that have been your weakness all year long? So that way, at least you get some in-game preparation to try to straighten that out. Because, look, if you're going to make a deep run, you got to be able to do everything good, not just the things that you're already doing good.
Well, yeah, and it gives you the opportunity to it's a very teachable moment as well. You get great film. You can teach your kids off of the film, and no matter how good your practice squad or your scout squad players are in practice every day, there's not near as much on the line. They're probably not as good as the other team's varsity. So it gives you a chance to get live scrimmage reps to be able to teach off of, to where you can improve and get better the next week. We really don't give a flying flip about stats. We just want to win the game, do whatever it takes to win the game, and make ourselves better football players and a better football team in preparation for the next opportunity. So, we had plenty of points. All we had to do was take care of the football and not give up a momentum swing. So we just used that to our advantage in the second half and worked on a lot of things in the run game.
Coach, obviously, when you're playing football on a Friday night and it's Friday night all the time, and then you get thrown the curveball, and this year the D4, D5, and D6 will be playing games on a Saturday night. If you're playing games every Friday night, it kind of could be a different kind of vibe to it. Now, for you guys, it's not really that big of a deal because you've played Saturday games in the past.
Right. We just it allows us to spread practice out. We get a lot better week of practice and teaching time when we play on Saturdays. So we really like it. Now, it doubles down on the coaches on Sunday. We have to do a lot of things that we normally get done in 2 days. We have to do it in one. But as far as teaching the game and our kids, improving and liking the schedule, Saturdays are a lot better for us.
All right, I posed this question to Coach Williams. I need to hear your opinion on this as well. That there's whispers coming out of Columbus that the OHSAA would be talking to coaches throughout the state to possibly get their opinion on something that they may or may not do. There's whispers coming around that they like this format of 7 weeks of the playoffs where everyone is welcome, and you do a 7-week playoff format where you cut the regular season from 10 games to 8 games. And depending on what league you're in and how many teams are in your league, that would cut down how many non-conference games you play. It works out 15 weeks of football, but it would be, instead of 10 weeks regular season, 5 weeks playoffs, it would be 8 weeks regular season, 7 weeks playoffs. Do you have a preference either way as to if the OHSAA were to ask Ron Johnson, head football coach of the Salem Quakers, which would you prefer? Do you have an opinion one way or the other, Coach?
Yeah, very strong opinion that it needs to go back and make the playoffs an earned commodity. There's some honor when you make the playoffs. It's because you played great for a regular season. It's not for everyone. Some of the scores last week indicated that it's not for everyone. It's something that is meant to be special. I think it's terrible. I don't like anything about the schedule. I like the preseason games before you get in your league to iron out some of the wrinkles that you have. It's just everybody gets a trophy mentality and let everybody take part. Well, not everybody's meant to take part, and I think it makes a mockery of it. I hope we get back to I'm still in favor of 8 playoff teams. I'm not even in favor of the 12. And I think we might also see a problem this week with some teams that are maybe a little stale coming out of a bye week. I would never want a bye week in the middle of the season or before a playoff game. So there's a lot of things that are inherently wrong with it, with going this format, and I don't like any of them. I like it to be an earned right to be in the playoffs and continue to play throughout the entire 15 weeks if it's so worthy.
There's a lot of truth to what you said, and I'll even take it a step further. And I know that it's money, and everyone knows that it's money. If money were not the part of this process, I wouldn't even want the top 8 teams. I'd want the top 4 teams, because you still have blowouts in the top 8 when the top 8 teams get together. So when people sit back and go, look at all these mercy rule games, get used to it, because you're going to be seeing mercy rule games this week, next week, and when you get into the semifinals, then you're going to start to see, by and large, all kinds of competitive games. I think it's even better if you have the top 4, but we all know that the Benjamins are playing a major role into whether or not you get expanded playoffs or you have everyone invited.
No, I tell you, you got to be a little careful with the score deal, because I saw some pretty good motto of teams get blown out by Marion Local by about 60. And then I saw the team down the river, the orange and black team down the river, I can't remember, got beat pretty bad by Ursuline, I think, or Delta St. John's or somebody. I mean, there's some big score differentials in the championship games, too. Yeah, that's always going to happen because it's all about matchups. Four teams will be fine. That's all it was for a long time. 8 teams is fine. But I think that, when you get the top 32 teams in the entire state playing, that's quite a few and quite a bit of talent. But, yeah, just the 12 teams and everybody in, it's a little rough.
Ron Johnson, the head football coach of the Salem Quakers, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. Last week there were 11 games that were postponed due to COVID outbreaks in variety of school districts in the state of Ohio. As of 2 hours ago, there are 9 games that have been canceled in the second round. Now, knock on wood, none of those games are involving any of the regions from our local teams, but 20 postponements, and 19 of the 20 do not involve our local area. Champion, the only team in our local area that was eliminated without playing a game in the postseason. That's a really horrible statistic, and I know that as a coach, it's certainly something that is worthy of reminding the kids on a daily basis what they need to do in order to keep football alive, at least this year at Salem High School.
I agree. I think that speaks volumes about the community in which we live, the whole region. Football is so important. Kids really treat high school athletics more than just a hobby. I mean, it's an important part of their lives, and I think they're taking the proper steps to give themselves an opportunity to play. So I think it speaks well of the communities, of the coaching staffs, and the schools that are reinforcing that, and their parents and communities as well that are helping them do the right things to give themselves a chance to play.
Coach, best of luck to you Saturday night against Poland. It should be a fun game, and hopefully, we will see a local team in the quarterfinals. We wish you the best of luck, and I know this is going to be a close game. And I know you guys, after starting the season off with 2 losses, you're playing your best football of the season, and that's a great way to get into this game.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much.
You got it. Ron Johnson, the head football coach of the Salem Quakers. This going to be a fun game. This going to be a lot of fun. I don't sleep on that team in Salem. This is going to be a really, really good football game. All right, 330-886-0813. We'll take a timeout, be back with more. It is a Football Friday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions, reminding you that it is open enrollment for Medicare.
Now through December 7th, those who qualify can visit our local independent agency by calling us at 330-953-3722 or visiting us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Attention all football fans. If you can't see your team play, come and dine with us and watch it live at Boardman, Canfield, or Cortland. Or staying at home, we'll deliver right to your door. That's Coca's Pizza. We serve it hot.
2020 will be a season like we've never seen before, but 21 Sports and YSN will be there for every key moment. The plays, the players, and the stories that will headline this season. Delivered by 21 Sports and YSN.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is here, so it's all hands on deck to make sure your plans still meet your needs for 2020.
Call us today.
You may find yourself in some difficulty this winter. Don't get whacked by high heating bills. Call Michael at MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Michael is a trusted friend who will be able to help you with many things, like getting a 95% high-efficiency furnace this winter from Rude. Michael relies on Rude, so should you. Call MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning for a free estimate, 330-259-0486, and take care of your heating and air situation.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
Armstrong Local Programming has always delivered an exclusive and unique perspective on the very best events your region offers. High school sports, community events, parades, all your favorite shows from Armstrong are now calling the Neighborhood Channel their home.
Watch Out and About, Locally Speaking, and many other great local shows right here on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel.
Find out everything that the Neighborhood Channel has to offer at ArmstrongNeighborhood.com. Spirit, town pride, local communities. Welcome to the neighborhood.
Welcome back to a Friday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. It's a football Friday edition of Running Point. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline open for you, the fans. 330-886-OH13. That's 330-886-0813. Hoping to get Dan Yeagley on before 3 o'clock. We'll see what happens. I know that he is diligently preparing his team for a Saturday night matchup as the South Range Raiders are going to be taking on Cadiz Harrison Central as they want to forfeit over Rootstown. And that was one of the games. And actually, let me backtrack because our region was affected in the first round. One of our regional teams was affected in the first round. It wasn't locally, but Rootstown was banged without playing a game. In Division 5, Region 17. That was in the first round. Division 6, Region 21, Division 5, Region 17 was affected 2 times. Crestwood with their forfeit win over Champion, and Rootstown was defeated as they were unable to play their game as Champion and Rootstown both had COVID issues in a week ago over in Division 5, Region 17. So there have been a couple of games in Division 5, Region 17 in the first week that involved forfeitures due to COVID. Division 4, Region 13. There was a game, or a lack of a game. Mentor Lake Catholic was to have played Orange, and that game did not go off. So that was in week number 1. That game was postponed, and unfortunately, Orange that was not able to play. So there have been some games in each region locally in a couple of regions where the first round have been marred by the lack of a game because of the COVID outbreak. Now, knock on wood, the only game, and there have been 20 postponements right now. 11 last week, 9 to this point this week, and that's as of noon. We'll see if we can get that number updated, but that was as of noon. A number of canceled games this weekend in the second round of the OHSAA playoffs was at 9. So we'll see if there's any more games between that have been postponed in the last 2.5 hours, because we checked just before going on the air at 12. Bottom line, of the 20 games that have been postponed or will be postponed, only one team from our YSN family has been affected, and that would be the champion Golden Flashes, who were eliminated without even playing a playoff game in Division 5, Region 17. Again, your schedule for tonight, Divisions 2, 3, and 7 are in the spotlight tonight. Division 2, our 3 teams are all in action. Fitch is hosting Twinsburg. Harding is hosting Maple Heights. And Boardman is traveling to Paynesville Riverside. Of the 3 teams, only one had a bye week in week 1, and that was Fitch. We'll see if that bye week is something that is going to affect Austintown Fitch. And I appreciated the bluntness of Coach Ron Johnson, the fact that bye weeks have not been a part of the OHSAA. In the history of the playoffs, there has never been a team that has had a bye week or a natural bye week. Now, obviously, there have been teams that have moved on because of a forfeiture, whether it be COVID-related, whether it be a NCAA, Jesus, Ron, OHSAA violation. There have been teams that have moved on to the next round, but in no way, shape, or form since the playoffs began in 1972 has there ever been a set bye up until this year. And I'll be curious. I'll be curious to see how all of these teams that had a bye are going to be able to react. And we'll find out first and foremost tonight. Austintown Fitch, one of 3 teams locally in Division 2, Region 5. They're the only team that had a bye. Canfield had a bye last week. We'll see what they can do when they take on Kenston. Howland did not have a bye. Hubbard did not have a bye. Cheney didn't have a bye. Niles didn't have a bye. So the other 4 teams locally that are in action, they're going to be playing their second round games. Howland is at Chardon. Hubbard is at Geneva. Cheney is at New Philadelphia. Niles is at Streetsboro. Those 4 teams will be playing their second round of the playoffs. Canfield will be playing their first game. They had a bye last week. Let's see what the Cardinals do when they take on Kenston. Teams that had a bye in Division 7, Warren JFK. They didn't have a game last week. They had a bye. They'll be taking on Lowellville, who defeated Valley Christian last week to earn the right to play JFK this week. So Lowellville will be in their second playoff game. JFK playing in their first playoff game. We'll see what happens there. Leetonia had a bye week. Now, for the Bears, they needed it because they had some kids that are banged up and some kids that the Bears are going to be relying on heavily in order for this team to be successful in the playoffs. So, but Leetonia will be hosting Buckeye Central. And I guess the equalizer to a bye is the fact that Buckeye Central, for a second consecutive week, will be making a 130-plus mile trip one way to the Valley. So we'll be very curious to see how Leetonia reacts from their bye and the fact that they haven't played in a couple of weeks, and how Buckeye Central reacts to having been on a bus for a second consecutive week, 130-plus miles one way. Be a fascinating game in Beartown tonight. Jackson Milton did not play, I beg your pardon. Jackson Milton did not play, nor did McDonald. Both teams are on a bye from last week. So I'll be very curious to see how these two teams play. Could it be a sloppy start for both teams? Perhaps. And look, Jackson Milton is on a 2-game losing streak, and they've had an extra week to let that fester. They lost to Mineral Ridge in Week 5, and they lost to Springfield in Week 6. Now, you can look at it both ways. When a team is on a 2-game losing streak, do you want to take a week off and give some time to get back to basics and slow that bad momentum? Of course you do. Absolutely you do. The other part of this for Jackson Milton, well, you've had an extra week to let that fester. So maybe they do come out rip-roaring and ready to go. For McDonald, a week off. They've had a good year with McDonald. They're not coming off of consecutive losses. So McDonald, we'll see how they start the ball game. Both teams on a bye. This should be very interesting. And it's the only matchup in which both teams did not play in Week 1 of the playoffs. It's the only matchup tonight on Friday nights, whether it be D2, D3, or D7. This is the only matchup featuring two teams that were on a bye last week. So the advantage or disadvantage kind of neutralize when both teams are experiencing the same thing. All right, let's take a timeout. We'll be back to go a little deeper into this. 330-886-0813. We're back in a bit. It's a Football Friday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com.
21 News.
Let's get right to our top story tonight.
More experienced reporters.
A new Wilmington restaurant.
GM Lordstown.
Telling more local stories.
We'll look at efforts
Boy is recovering from a broken
around our valley.
Community in Niles. We are here in Youngstown, right up.
Because you expect.
It's important for everyone. No place like home.
More local news.
In Mercer County Court.
21 News is our valley's #1 local news.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
Attention football fans, order Coca's Pizza tailgate package for only $54.99. You'll receive 24 slices of our delicious cheese pizza, 20 jumbo wings, and 2 of our famous foot-long pepperoni rolls. Coca's Pizza, we serve it hot.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Your Armstrong services are more important than ever. There are more and more connected devices in the home these days. To get the most out of your experience, you need a network that is always getting better. You deserve superior performance, and that's what Armstrong offers every day. Whether you're working from home, enjoying your favorite content together, or simply catching up while apart, count on Armstrong to keep you connected to what matters most.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
To help you with your Medicare needs.
Myers Family Insurance looks forward to helping you now for years to come, so call our family today and remind them how cute we are.
Myers Family Insurance continues to be the area's resource for all your Medicare and retirement needs. Call today, 330-286-3044.
For heating, cooling, and indoor air quality, the Mahoning Valley trusts MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning, offering worry-free repair, service, and installation. Call MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. We're your energy-efficient experts.
Welcome back to a Football Friday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. The boss is in the chair, so now I got to behave myself.
Have you not been behaving yourself?
Well, of course I behave myself all the time. Wait a second. Wait, hold on. It's not moving.
I was going to say it's growing.
No, it's not moving.
And your pants are on fire at the same time.
Wait a second. That's that's all right. We'll let that one go. Tonight and every Friday and Saturday, we got a lot of stuff going on here in studio. Mike Ackelson, the controlled chaos that is the YSN studios every Friday and Saturday nights. It should be an awful lot of fun again.
How much fun has it been over the last 7 weeks to watch these guys do what they do best? I mean, you look at what Ack does, and he's done this for a long time, and he loves it. You can tell. I mean, guy wouldn't drive 3 hours round trip to do this for something he doesn't like to do. So the Valley and YSN as a whole, we owe him a debt of gratitude. For what he's done. And you got Nick Zeronis, who's back here like a DJ in a club, bopping keys and doing all that stuff. So it's such a great job. Steve Leslie we owe a lot to as well, because he is seemingly everywhere. Yeah. Everywhere. I mean, every time I see his face somewhere on social media, it's great to see. So
no doubt. And obviously for those that are not going to spend $9.99, and by the way, if you don't, that's we got nothing wrong with that. Hey, look, you can go to ysnlive.com and go to our wonderful show that's provided free to the public and check it out, because the games that I'm not involved in, I'm down here, and every time I come here, I feel like I'm a person that's on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange,
right? And
I have to scream to Lisbon's selling at $1.50 or something of that nature, and you have to make the magic phrase in order to have people to look at you. But this is it's a great environment here.
It's been fun, and that's what we do. It's about having fun. It's about promoting the student athletes, the coaches, the schools, the districts, and reality is giving back 25% isn't something we had to do. And I'm not going to pat myself on the back, but it's something we felt that was necessary. The schools are in hardship right now, especially, some of the ones around here, because they rely so much on the gate from their football games. And we felt we had to step in. And we get a lot of heat for the $9.99 price tag, and that's fine. You know, it's you know, it is what it is. But reality is, show me another company that's giving 25% gross income to what they're doing each and every week to the schools, and I'll show you someone that can say something about our $9.99, because we're getting heat from a newspaper, we're getting heat from a local media television station because they do the game for free. Okay, you put your chips on the table, we'll put our chips on the table, we'll put the cards where they are, and we'll see. You're doing 1, maybe 2, and we do 24.
Yeah.
So you want to bring that into our house? You better make sure that you take your shoes off and dust your socks before you step in our house, talking about how many games you do and how you serve the Valley, because the last time I checked, we're the only ones giving back.
Well, the other thing, and I would hope that people would understand this, the OHSAA is now charging $12 for a playoff ticket.
And?
Which is a lot of money, and we're only charging $9.99. So people that are going to sit back and moan and groan about $9.99, well, okay, look at it this way. By purchasing $9.99, not only are you seeing one game, you're seeing the entire spectrum of all of the games that we're doing, all of the games tonight, all of the games tomorrow night. And again, just $9.99 if for a Friday, you have all the Friday games.
Yeah, we're not going to leave you out in the cold with this stuff as the heater kicks on for some reason.
Well, I mean, you said cold, so.
We're not going to leave you out in the cold. So we've been building this plane in the air, really, is what it boils down to. And, you know, I couldn't be more proud that we pivot, and we pivot for the right reasons. It's all about being able to give value. And let's face it, free has a value to some. But reality is I would rather invest $9.99 and see every game that I possibly could rather than just one game.
Emmanuel, let's go to the phone lines. Emmanuel, welcome in.
Well, first of all, guys, enough already. If you guys wouldn't be doing such a good job, nobody would be complaining. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, they call us Raiders arrogant. You've heard them say that before, right?
Oh, well, yeah.
It really doesn't matter. We're going to do what we do. You know, people can say, well, how come they don't do it? It doesn't matter. We're going to do what we do. So you guys are doing a great job. So I wouldn't even worry about it, right? I mean, there's people in my family, you know, even Raiders are checking out the other games.
Yeah, of course. I mean, and this is one of the reasons why I love this service is the fact that, you know, and I've talked with coaches, and look, I mean, it's no secret trying to get to a game. Even if you're a head coach and a coach, assistant coach, it's kind of tough to do. So there were plenty of coaches, and I'll name my alma mater. Paul Julia had his coaching staff over, ordered up a pizza, got some adult beverages, and watched the Wellsville game. Didn't have to drive down to Wellsville. They saw the game.
Let me tell you something. You, right? And I'm going to piggyback what the coaches say. The things that you were doing, but we have to say you did put Latonia on the map. Everybody has to see that. Has to see Marco run at least once or twice. Is he healthy?
He is. He's ready to go.
Okay.
Yeah, he's playing tonight, and we'll see. I mean, Buckeye Central has a big offensive and defensive line. They're bigger than Latonia, and Latonia's got some grade A beef up front too. So this will be a fun game, and Latonia's going to have more than just Marco Ferrer to win this game tonight.
Now since that's out the way, let's get into the real deal. I talked to Munch this morning, and I think Maple Heights is trying to come down here and beat us. And I guess their coach was a big-time star at the University of Cincinnati, and he's a wide receiver, and they're supposed to be able to move the ball, and they're supposed to be pretty good.
Let me tell you, Emmanuel, this team has only given up 6 points in the last 4 games. They are starting to play some really, really good football. This can be a fun game. Harding and Maple Heights. This game screams multiple overtimes. I think it's going to be that good of a game tonight up at Mollenkopf.
And I'm glad other people in the Mahoney Valley, Columbiana Valley, can finally see what these Raiders do against a quality team. Well, now, another thing too, right? As far as she was a great interview, and I loved it. It reminded me when the guy's little kid came in when he was doing the interview, because I know, because sometimes over the years, sometimes I've been talking to you. They're older now. I'm like, oh, I had to apologize, but once they got them hockey tickets, they were okay. But what I'm gonna tell you right now, and I told our buddy the same thing. This is the bottom line. The Pittsburgh Steelers have considered the Cleveland Browns to be a rival since last year. You guys should, well, not you guys, but they should have beat us twice. If you'd have been kicking and I'd have been kicking, you'd have won that game. And the thing that it showed us is, even when the Browns are good, they say if they have to win 2 games, let them be against the Steelers. Now they want 4 against Baltimore. So when the Browns play us like they played us last year, the first game of the season, I realized that's a football team over there, not a good football team, but they don't like us, and we better be ready for us. And so we're ready for it. Go ahead.
That's my thing. And listen, I'm a Steeler fan too. My biggest thing is going to be when they can beat Ben Roethlisberger, then I'll say they're a legitimate contender. But it hasn't happened.
It might happen at 4:25 on Sunday afternoon. I'm not saying it will, but it might.
Ron will tell you. I was in the stadium for the. Remember, the game ended in a tie.
Yeah, you were there with your Steeler garb.
It ended in a tie, and I'm telling you, they should have beat us, and it went downhill from then. But if they played the rest of the season like they played against us, that's when I realized Myles Garrett was a beast. They was beating doggone Ben up, but the only thing to save Cleveland was, and he was. Don't get mad, Ronnie. What was that? Tyrod Taylor? He started the game. If he could have threw the ball further, then they went to Mayfield. But all I'm saying is the rivalry is there. We don't like y'all. When you lost your team, we met you at the doggone turnpike, took you in, put signs up, for ABC, supporting you guys. What do you guys do? You get back in the league and you freaking beat us.
Well, hey, it's a good rivalry. It's just, as I told Aditi, I can count on one hand the amount of times the Browns and Steelers have been really good at the same time. And that's why this rivalry now, and it's always been a high energy, and I think that it restarted itself when Myles Garrett did what he did against Mason Rudolph. The hatred has been restarted, but the reality is, when the Browns and Steelers are both good at the same time, damn, does this rivalry get fun. And now, at least early on, neither team has beaten anyone of significance, although the Browns just got done beating a Colts team that's record-wise is pretty good. They were banged up defensively. Yeah, and
I hate Phillip Rivers.
Well, and he was terrible.
He's awful.
But you got to give the Browns defense a little bit of credit for that. I think 4-0 Pittsburgh, 4-1 Cleveland. I can count on one hand since 99, and I can actually still count on one hand since when I was alive, and my first year watching football was 71. I can still count on one hand the amount of times the Browns and Steelers have played each other when both teams have been really, really good record-wise.
Well, what good was the record when Turkey Joe picked up Bradshaw and slammed him?
They weren't that good.
But that's the rivalry was there. When Mean Joe Green punched somebody in the belly, it's been there for a while.
It wasn't the belly. Hey, it wasn't the belly. It was a little further south. Let's be honest here.
Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, right? But the last thing, real quick, two quick things. I'm saying Pittsburgh 34, Cleveland 23, right? Okay. Because we're going to blitz them. And the next thing is, right, I'm over it's left a scar, but I'm over it. And you said way back when, you talked about Tampa Bay pitching. Are they going to win it all?
They may not even get past Houston, because I'm now getting a little nervous. Houston now has their starters in games 6 and 7 on a full 4 days rest. We might be seeing the second 3-0 come from behind ass kicking. Boston gave it to New York in 2004. We might be seeing the second version of that, because Tampa needed that game last night. They didn't get it, and I think Houston may beat them.
Didn't Boston do it to Cleveland?
Boston, they did a 5. They were down 2-0, and then they beat Cleveland 3 straight times, and that cost Hargrove his job. But the only time it's ever happened in a best of 7, Boston beat the Yankees, and I think we're about to see it again. Because on paper, okay, Tampa Bay's better, but Houston now has both starters on 4 days rest, and they are both the two of their only really decent pitchers that they have. Pittsburgh. Well, it is kind of Pittsburgh because a couple of their players are former Pirates. Tampa Bay had better get a damn good performance from Snell and Glass now, or they're going to be the second team that loses a 3-0 series lead.
I'm just going to say that the entire time I've been watching the world burn saying Houston is going to do this, and they're going to shove it up everybody's ass because they're not cheating now.
Yeah.
What's the excuse now?
There is no excuse now.
And all these politicians, well, the one politician that spoke up that I heard you talk about, like, who do you point at now?
Yeah.
You know, if they do it without a trash can, without any of this stuff, then what do you say?
Well,
you don't say anything.
Let me say this. Let me say this. You know, first of all, I'm gonna say this. Then I'm gonna answer that. You know, Buffalo got out coached. But listen, I don't care if you rob one bank or you rob 100 banks. You are still a bank robber. If you rob that one bank, that money was stolen.
Well,
that was a New York Yankees trophy.
So let me ask you this. If we're talking about the Astros cheating, how come we're not talking about the Red Sox, Yankees, or any of the other teams that have been caught red-handed?
Ron. I hope you're sitting down, because I'm going to say something you're not going to believe. We might as well put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
No, let's not go there.
I do. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely not. That's another story for another time.
Right.
We're way out of time. But let me just say, all the years I did minor league baseball, all the years I've covered Major League Baseball, every single door that you go into that enters the clubhouse and every single door that exits the clubhouse, there is a placard, not a poster-sized thing that says, it just stresses, don't gamble. You are not allowed to gamble. If you do gamble, there's consequences. Post-1919 World Series, if you gamble, you're going to get the same fate that the White Sox / Black Sox kids got. Pete Rose looked at that sign every single time he was a player, every single time he was a manager, and that arrogant son of a bitch still gambled. Screw you, you're out.
I'm just going to look behind you of a guy that is considered by many, including myself, to be the greatest of all time and did his fair share of competitive activities.
Of course he did.
So if he's allowed...
Did he gamble on basketball?
Prove to me that he didn't.
Well, you don't have to.
Well, then
you proved that Pete Rose gambled on baseball both as a player and as a manager.
As a player?
Absolutely. Player-manager. Absolutely he did. So it's, he gambled. Get him out. I'm sorry. Now, look, I mean, obviously he goes down as one of the greatest players in the history of the game. No questions asked. But as far as him going in the Hall of Fame, sorry, can't do it. Not going to do it. And I probably would have had he just had the decency and the sense to sit back and say when he got caught elbow deep in the cookie jar, had he would have just decently said, hell yes, I did it, and I apologize for doing it. Okay, go into the Hall of Fame. But that arrogant prick didn't do it. For years, he sat back and said, I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything.
Then it's not really a Hall of Fame to me. If you're not putting the best players in there, then it's not really a Hall of Fame.
Well, again, if it's not, it certainly isn't a Hall of Fame. I mean, the Negro League players aren't in there.
Yeah.
Josh Gibson's not. He's the black Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
People were sitting back in the Negro League saying, okay, Babe Ruth is a great player. We got a pretty good player that hits as many home runs as Ruth does in Josh Gibson. He ain't in the Hall of Fame. Oscar Charleston's, I don't think he's in the Hall of Fame. I mean, those are two of the greatest players to ever play Negro League baseball.
You're sure Gibson's not in the Hall of Fame?
No, Oscar Charleston.
Okay, just making sure.
I'm pretty sure Josh Gibson is not in the Hall of Fame.
I feel like he is, but I could be
off. And I could be wrong on that, but there's plenty of kids in the Negro Leagues that aren't in the Hall of Fame that should be. But it's the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, not the Pro Baseball Hall of Fame, which there's a big difference between the two. So, all right, Emmanuel.
Wait a minute. All I got to say is you guys have a good weekend, man. Okay?
You too.
Enjoy and bundle up tonight if you're going to the game. It's going to get cold tonight.
Chilly.
Okay, my brother.
All right, see ya. All right, that's another story for another time.
I can't wait to debate that one with you.
Because we got a power hour. What do we do for power hour today?
We're picking them, baby. We're picking them all. We're picking them all from top to bottom, starting with who do we got over there? Twinsburg and Fitch, all the way down.
You're going to be offending some people.
I'm a company guy. I don't offend anybody. I always pick the YSN teams.
He's DJ Oakley, and he approves this message. There you go. All right, Power Hour is coming up. Have a great weekend. I'm going to be here for the chaos, and hopefully you will go to ysnlive.com for the chaos tonight and tomorrow. Ackelson and the boys. Man, it's at least for tonight. Tomorrow night I'm doing the Crestview game, but enjoy the football tonight and have a great weekend. We're out of here. Power Hour is coming up next. Have a